What is going on, guys? We are live on YouTube. We are live on TikTok. Happy Football Sunday. We got a lot of exciting games coming our way this Sunday. I can't wait to dive into it, guys. Can't wait to dive into it. I already see we have some people in the TikTok live, in the YouTube live. Good morning, everyone. Hey, Weatherman Sam, any important weather updates? We're already getting straight into the NFL weather report, man. It's about 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. We are like 3-ish hours away from football, and the good news is there's not any very scary weather today. A couple games that could have rain. The Browns versus the Lions. I think the Titans versus the Texans might have a tiny bit of rain as well, but there's no wind. There's no wind over 25 miles an hour, so I'm not too concerned. Hey, Sam, Bateman or Wilson Jr. Guys, there's a lot of good running back options today in fantasy football, and Jeff Wilson is one of them. You got to be playing Jeff Wilson. You have to be playing Jeff Wilson against the Jaguars. There's no Elijah Mitchell today, and it's the Jaguars. And not only are they getting to play the Jaguars today, we know the 49ers want to run the ball. We know that Jeff Wilson could get over 20 carries today, and that alone makes him a must-start in fantasy football. Draftkings lineup. Yeah, Nick, we're going to have a lot of people coming back for the Draftkings lineup in the YouTube live, in the TikTok live. We're live on TikTok and YouTube right now, and last week, the Draftkings lineup we shared cashed in literally every single tournament you played it in, and it came in first place out of 64 teams in the head-to-head contest that I'm in. Here's my DraftKings lineup this week. And there's some DFS sleepers in here. I saw a question. Is your app available for Android? It's coming. Look at this. I have an Android here. I got an Android because the app is coming to Android. It's not quite to Android yet, but it's coming very, very soon, next couple of weeks. But my DraftKings lineup this week, I'm going with Tua at quarterback. I think Tua is probably my favorite sleeper quarterback of the week. Tua has only played 4 games this season, and 2 of them were against bad teams. And in both those games, he went over 25 fantasy points. And he gets a bad team today. He gets the Jets. He's up against the Jets today. I think Tua is going over 20 fantasy points. He's priced so low on DraftKings and FanDuel. I think if you're not going with Tua, you should probably be going with Cam Newton. I actually think Cam Newton's a little bit riskier than Tua, though, because we don't know exactly how much P.J. Walker is going to be involved. Tua in Week 6 against the Jaguars, 22 fantasy points. In Week 7 against the Falcons, 28 fantasy points. The only other 2 full games he's played were against the Patriots back in Week 1 and the Bills in Week 8, 2 good defenses. He went over 15 points in both those games, too. So Tua has a floor of 15. He's got a ceiling of 30 today against the Jets. So I like Tua a lot. So he's who I'm riding with in my head-to-head contest. I like Cam Newton a lot this week, too. There is this added layer of risk and uncertainty with Cam, though, because we don't know how much P.J. Walker is going to play. So that's why I'm rocking with Tua instead of Cam in my DraftKings lineup. Though Tua is actually, I think, is slightly more expensive than Cam this week. At running back, you got to know we're going with the Quadzilla, A.J. Dillon. A.J. Dillon, I mean, he literally could get 30 carries today. If the Packers get a lead in this game, A.J. Dillon's going to have an absolute monster performance. So, yeah, you got to be starting A.J. Dillon everywhere, including DraftKings. My second running back is going to be David Montgomery. I think David Montgomery is arguably the best value play on DraftKings at the running back position this week. He's just locked into such a clear workload. And he's not priced like that. He's not priced as if he's locked into a workload, but he's locked in, guys, to at least minimum 15 carries. The Ravens' defense has been pretty good, but there has not been a single team that's more run-heavy this season than the Chicago Bears. Like the Chicago Bears, they could be losing by 20 points, and they're going to continue to run the ball. So that's why I'm going with David Montgomery at running back. My receivers, a pretty baller group of receivers for me this week. I'm going with A.J. Brown. Pretty obvious bounce back spot for A.J. Brown against the Texans. I would caution you to not play. Like, you got to have A.J. Brown in every single DraftKings lineup you make this week, in tournaments or head-to-head. The ceiling is too high to ignore. Tebow Samuel. If anyone benefits more than as much as Jeff Wilson with the Elijah Mitchell injury, it's Tebow Samuel, who looked like their best running back last week. He's basically a wide receiver built with a running back skill set. I'm going with Jalen Waddle as well. I like the Tua and Jalen Waddle stack a lot this week. It's my favorite stack of the week. Tua stacked with Waddle. Guys, not a single player in the NFL has run more routes than Jalen Waddle this season. He leads the league in routes run. He's not coming off the field. He's the clear number one receiver for the Dolphins. And he gets the Jets. And Tua is back. And there's not a more hated on quarterback in the NFL than Tua right now. He's only played 4 games this season, though. And he did well in 2 of them. He's gotten over 15 points in all 4. Meanwhile, Jalen Waddle has at least 15 points in 3 of his last 5 games. He has yet to clear 100 receiving yards, though, in a single game this season. I think that could happen today for Jalen Waddle. Last but not least, at tight end and at flex, I'm going with Dalton Schultz, Michael Gallup. You need pieces of the Cowboys-Chiefs game, but most of the pieces are super expensive. You're going to have to pay up big time for Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, Dak Prescott, CD Lamb. All these guys are really going to make it tough for you to fill out your whole lineup, which is why instead I'm just going to go with Dalton Schultz and Michael Gallup. Both guys. Michael Gallup's probably the number 1 value wide receiver on the slate. No Amari Cooper today. There's no Amari Cooper today. We got to run through all the injuries today because there's a lot of injuries, one of which is Amari Cooper not playing today. The really only injury that we still have to track, and I promise I'll get to some of the comments in the TikTok live and the YouTube live, but really the only injury left to track that we're waiting on is Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson might not play today. Lamar Jackson might not play today. We already know Marquise Hollywood-Brown is out today, so that's a bump up for Rashad Bateman. Seeing a lot of Rashad Bateman in the chat. Someone asking if they should start Saquon. Yeah, of course. You got to start Saquon. Why do you have Saquon Barkley on your fantasy team if you're not going to play him when he's playing? You know, this is what we've been waiting for. We're waiting for Saquon to play, so when he plays, you got to put him in your fantasy lineup immediately. It looks like Kyler Murray going to be out again this week. Kyler Murray was pretty clearly leading the league in the MVP conversation, but he's missed 3 straight weeks now. They're going to be on bye next week. He'll probably be back after the bye, along with DeAndre Hopkins. But this is going to be a tough matchup for the Cardinals in Seattle. In Seattle, no Kyler Murray, no DeAndre Hopkins, no Chase Edmonds, no J.J. Watt. So we know Marquise Brown is out. Patrick Peterson's back for the Vikings today. Will be interesting to see how he does. There's also some traps this week with some running backs returning. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is back this week. But Darrell Williams did well in his absence. I think Clyde is a pretty big trap this week. I would not be starting Clyde Edwards-Helaire this week. Miles Sanders is back this week. Yeah, that Miles Sanders. Jordan Howard, though, has done well enough that he's going to continue to be involved as well. I think Miles Sanders is a pretty big trap this week. Some other traps this week. Alex Collins is a trap this week for the Seattle Seahawks. There is no Chris Carson for the rest of the season. I still think Alex Collins is a pretty big trap, though. Sounds like Rashad Penny's role could grow this week and beyond. Guys, we're live on TikTok and YouTube right now. On the YouTube Live, you get a little bit more info. My top 10 quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, all on the YouTube Live. Link is in the TikTok bio. I can pull up your comments on the whole in front of the whole screen, which is a little bit easier. So come to the YouTube Live. If you are in the YouTube Live, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, guys. We're going to be live for the next 3 hours. We got plenty of time, and we are going to get through a lot. And when we hit 250 likes on this YouTube live stream, I got a free prop pick for us as well. Guys, we have been cashing on these free prop picks. Last week, we nailed Dalvin Cook over 89.5 rushing yards. He went for 95. The week before that, we hit Nick Chubb over 82.5 rushing yards. He went for over 100 rushing yards in that game. If you tuned into the Thursday night live too, we were all over. My only lock of the week against the spread was the Patriots, -7. If you were listening to someone and they told you to take the Falcons +7, I think you have to seriously question the rationale behind that pick. The Patriots offensive line was better than the Falcons defensive line. The Patriots defensive line was better than the Falcons offensive line. The Patriots secondary was far more talented than the Falcons receivers. Even the Patriots receivers were more talented than the Falcons secondary. Like every single matchup in that game was lopsided. So that's why the Patriots were a lock at -7. I wasn't expecting them to let up 0 points, but it honestly wasn't that surprising. The Falcons are really like one of the least talented teams in the NFL right now. It was one of the few games the Patriots have played that they were more talented at every single spot on the field. So we nailed that one. All right, let me pull up my running backs. The other Week 11 traps really quickly. Mark Ingram, he's a trap this week. Be careful with Mark Ingram. Tony Jones is back. He's been on IR. He's a rookie for the Saints. He's been on IR for most of the season, but he's back this week. I would tread carefully with Mark Ingram. We were all over Mark Ingram last week. I had him in my DraftKings lineup last week, and that worked out very well. He went over 20 points. He's still going to be the number 1 running back with Alvin Kamara out. But I would be careful with Mark Ingram this week. He feels like a trap to me this week. Darrell Williams and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, both of them could bust this week, and at least one of them will almost definitely bust. I would be really careful with both those guys too. Against the Cowboys, that game's going to be extremely high scoring. I don't think it's going to be a very good game for the running backs. And I wouldn't be starting Miles Sanders in his first game back either. All right, guys, we're live on YouTube. We're live on TikTok. Let's start getting to some of the comments. Gallup or Landry? Jacob, it's got to be Gallup. It's got to be Gallup. Gallup has a really, really high ceiling today. Sam, good morning, man. Good morning, Joey. Thanks for tuning in, man. Let's get to this question. Need some help. Evans, Gallup, Bateman, Williams, Moore this week. Full PPR pick 3. Yeah. So I have DJ Moore still ranked as a top 10 wide receiver this week. And I understand why that might be against the grain a little bit. He's been struggling of late. Cam Newton back. It's really unclear if Cam Newton being back is actually a good thing for DJ Moore. The Panthers as a whole are probably going to be more run heavy than usual. But I still think you have to start DJ Moore against Washington. The matchup is so good for DJ Moore. DJ Moore still has at least 7 targets in every single game this season, and he's still one of the most talented wide receivers in the league. So, yeah, you got to be starting DJ Moore. I know it might not feel great, but you got to start DJ Moore. So we're starting DJ Moore. You got to start Mike Evans as well. For me, this one's between Michael Gallup, Rashad Bateman, and Mike Williams. Mike Williams, man, is a tough one for a lot of people. And I was in on Mike Williams last week. And I think Mike Williams still has a high ceiling in this game this week against the Steelers. I think that's the night game tonight. He played 95% of the snaps last week. He had 6 targets, including 3 red zone targets. He turned that into 7 points. He's now had back-to-back games under 8 fantasy points. 4 straight games under 8 points for Mike Williams. He hasn't had a game with 5 catches since week 5 against the Browns. And in that game, he went for 165 yards, 2 TDs, 36 fantasy points. That's the ceiling for Mike Williams. That is the ceiling. That's what you're chasing if you're starting Mike Williams. Just know the floor is low. The ceiling's high, the floor is low for Mike Williams. I like Gallup, I think, a little bit more than Mike Williams this week. Michael Gallup has a really high ceiling. Michael Gallup is one of the best, if not the best, number 3 receiver in the NFL. It's probably Antonio Brown, if all 3 Buccaneers receivers are healthy. But after that, I would take Michael Gallup as the best number 3 receiver in the league, and he's not a number 3 receiver today. There's no Amari Cooper. Michael Gallup's going to play every single snap for the Cowboys today against the Chiefs. And that game is just a game you want pieces of. There's going to be a lot of points scored in this Cowboys-Chiefs game. Michael Gallup only played 54% of the snaps last week against the Falcons. It's going to be much higher this week. I'm going with Michael Gallup over Rashad Bateman and over Mike Williams. Rashad Bateman, also, we got to wait and see if Lamar's even going to play. We got to see if Lamar's going to play, because Lamar actually might not play. He's like 50-50 to play. I would be a little bit surprised if he doesn't play. It feels like Lamar always ends up playing in these types of situations, but we got to wait for confirmation there. All right, let's answer this question. Waddle or Thielen rest of season? I think I would go with Jalen Waddle. Tua or Jalen Hurts? Yeah, so I've seen a lot of Tua questions and a lot of Cam questions in the chat. I think you have to go Jalen Hurts over Tua. I do. I think you got to go Jalen Hurts over Tua. But I think Tua is one of the safest plays of the week. I honestly think Tua is safer than Jalen Hurts. Again, let me run through why I think Tua is such a safe play today. And I would argue Jalen Hurts has a better ceiling. I would argue Cam Newton has a better ceiling than Tua. That's why both of them ranked. If you come to the YouTube Live, link is in the TikTok bio, and you see my top 10 quarterbacks of the week. you won't see Tua in the top 10. I wanted to put him in there. He's not in there. Because to me, all 10 of the guys in my top 10 have just a way higher ceiling than Tua. But it's not the ceiling that gets me super excited about Tua. It's the floor. He's played 4 games this season. Tua has played 4 full games this season. Week 1 against the Patriots, he scored 17 fantasy points in that game. Then his next full game was in week 6 against the Jaguars. And in week 7 against the Falcons. He went over 20 points in both those games. And those defenses are comparable to the Jets. The Jaguars defense, the Falcons defense, he went over 22 points against both those defenses. He gets the Jets today. And then his only game, his last game, was against the Bills, who the Bills guys, they are the number 1 defense in the NFL this season. It really isn't even that close. They rank number 1 against the pass. They rank number 1 against the run, if you adjust for strength of opponent. And he scored 16 points against the Bills. So it feels like Tua's floor is 15 points. That's a pretty good floor. And his ceiling is 30 points. So I like Tua. I do like Tua a lot this week. I know I have Jalen Hurts ranked ahead of him. I have Ryan Tannehill ranked ahead of him. I have Cam Newton ranked ahead of him. I like those guys too. But the floor for Tua is really exciting. So I think you can strongly consider Tua in a lot of situations. And he's available in most leagues still. Rodgers or Cam, yeah, you kind of have to go Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers apparently dealing with a pretty serious toe injury. I still think you got to go A-Rod. Newton or Dak. Yeah, don't be benching Dak. Do not bench Dak Prescott this week, guys. Hey, Sam, good morning. Hope your morning is good so far. It's been great, man. These are my favorite mornings of the year. This is like my Christmas every single Sunday morning. I can't wait for football to start. Should I get Sammy Watkins off waivers PPR? No, probably not. He's probably not going to be worth much. Sammy Watkins is just never going to be a consistent fantasy producer. Pick 2, Deontay Johnson, Adam Thielen, Jamar Chase. Guys, you got to be starting Jamar Chase every week. I'd probably go Deontay Johnson ahead of Adam Thielen too. Thielen or Jefferson? Got to be Jefferson. Good morning. Do you think I should start Pittman or Bateman with Brown out? I have Thielen already and Ingram in at flex. Yeah, Pittman, the Colts up against the Bills today. That's not a good matchup for Pittman. Again, the Bills are the number 1 secondary in football. They're the number 1 run defense in football. I think the Buffalo Bills beat up the Indianapolis Colts pretty good today. So, yeah, I would go Bateman over Pittman this week. A.J. Green or Callaway. Oh, man. It's so tough to get behind A.J. Green with Colt McCoy starting. It's just so tough. I think I might go Callaway there. Hey, what's up, Sam? I need to start 2. Mike Williams, Tyler Lockett, DJ Moore, Higgins, and Mike Williams again. Well, I think you got to start DJ Moore, and I think I would go T. Higgins as number 2, Jonah. I like T. Higgins a lot today. T. Higgins could be the number 1 receiver for the Bengals today. I like Jamar Chase I like Jamar Chase a lot this week too, but T. Higgins has now gone over 60 yards in 3 straight games. This could be the first 100-yard game for T. Higgins this week too. T. Higgins has at least 10 fantasy points in all but 1 game that he's played this season. He's a pretty safe bet for 10 fantasy points. And I think the ceiling, we haven't really seen the true ceiling for T. Higgins yet this season. Hey, Sam, what's up? What's going on, Drew? Should I start Bateman, Waddle, Gaskin, Renfro, or Gallup? Pick 3. Yeah, you got to start Waddle, you got to start Gaskin, and you got to start Gallup. I think those are the 3. I think those are the 3 easy ones. You want to start players against the Jets, guys. Hey, Sam, Claypool or Devonte Smith? This is going to be a tough matchup for Devonte Smith, like up against Marshawn Lattimore and the Saints. I know Devonte Smith is starting to have a little bit of a breakout second half of the season. Back-to-back games for Devonte Smith over 20 fantasy points. That's what I'm talking about. There wasn't a single wide receiver I drafted more in my best ball leagues than Devonte Smith. Nobody's rooting for Devonte Smith more than me. I think this week, though, it's going to be a tough week for Devonte Smith. I think this is the week to bench Devonte Smith up against Marshawn Lattimore. Marshawn Lattimore has been just so consistent this season. There has been very few receivers that have done well up against Marshawn Lattimore this season. Marcus Johnson did do well against the Saints last week, though. But Marshawn Lattimore was mostly up against A.J. Brown, and A.J. Brown did nothing. So, yeah, I'm a little bit nervous for Devonte Smith this week. I don't think I would start him in that situation. Hey, Sam, love the app. Gave it a 5-star review. Thank you so much. Guys, if you haven't checked out the WalterPicks app yet, you got to check it out. I do appreciate it. It's the number 1 way you could possibly support me. It's completely free to download, too. Pittman or Locket. I played the Pats D, so I do need a boom. Yeah, if you need a boom, you got to go Locket. I mean, it's that straightforward. If you're in desperation mode, look no further than Tyler Lockett. Tyler Lockett is the perfect desperation high upside play. Sydney Moskovich in the chat. WalterPicks app is great. Thanks, Sydney. I know you've been a long time subscriber. I really do appreciate it. Again, number one way you could possibly support me in the WalterPicks brand is just go download the WalterPicks app. Try it out. It's completely free to download. It's going to help you with all your start-sit decisions, all your trade decisions. It's going to help you dominate DraftKings and FanDuel, dominate player props. It helps you with everything. It leverages Walter, which is a machine learning algorithm I helped build. It gives us the most accurate projections in fantasy. So it can honestly help you even more than these live streams. It's going to give you also boom and bust probabilities, so the ceiling and the floor for every player of every game. Who should I pick up since Amari Cooper is out? Yeah, you got to go see if Michael Gallup is available. Michael Gallup is the direct backup to Amari Cooper. Michael Gallup is also one of the most talented number 3 receivers in the league, arguably the most talented. Maybe Antonio Brown's better, but Michael Gallup is that guy. And Michael Gallup's also probably going to get paid after the season when he leaves Dallas. So yeah, I'd go see if Michael Gallup is available if you are without Amari Cooper, because Gallup really offers similar upside. Honestly, now that there's going to be consolidated targets for the Cowboys. I think it is a bump up for Dalton Schultz too. I'm starting Gallup and Schultz in my DraftKings lineup this week for that exact reason. Hey, Sam, Mahomes or Dak in DFS already got Lamb and Tyreek in there. Yeah, Thomas, you're building just a monster upside lineup. And honestly, I think I would go with Dak. But to me, Mahomes has a higher touchdown ceiling because it's less likely for Mahomes to lose out on some of the touchdowns near the goal line to guys like Clyde or Darrell Williams as it is for Dak to lose out on touchdowns to guys like Zeke and Tony Pollard. So I would lean towards Mahomes. But I think that Dak is actually going to end up with more passing yards than Mahomes. I think both are really good options. Liked and subscribed and 5-star review on the app, Chase. I appreciate it. Love the upside down WalterPicks logo. Michael Carter or Michael Gallup at flex. Yeah, I like Michael Carter a lot this week too. Michael Carter is one of my favorite plays this week. I think Michael Carter pretty easily going to go over 50 rushing yards. I'm pretty sure his prop is at 42.5 rushing yards. I think he's going to go over 50 pretty easily. But I still think you got to go Michael Gallup. If you're chasing the ceiling, you got to go Michael Gallup. All right, let me pull up my top 10 receivers on the YouTube Live. Again, we're live on TikTok and YouTube. Come to the YouTube Live. You get my top 10 quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, and my favorite picks against the spread. We nailed the Pats at -7. There's so many people. All over my TikTok feed was people picking the Falcons at +7. I didn't understand it at all. And honestly, most of them gave no reason at all other than it was too many points. Hate that rationale. And you can see my favorite picks against the spread on the YouTube Live as well. But yeah, I think Michael Gallup is the higher ceiling play. Michael Carter is the safer play. Michael Carter is going to get at least 7 points. Michael Gallup, though, has a much higher ceiling than Michael Carter because Michael Carter is really only playing like half the snaps. He's splitting a lot of time with Ty Johnson and now with Tevin Coleman too. Thoughts on Saquon Barkley? Yeah, I'm pumped for Saquon to be back. I feel like Devontae Booker did a good enough job in his absence that Devontae Booker still has to have a role. And I also feel like with the optics of Saquon coming back getting hurt, they're just going to be further incentivized to ease the workload for Saquon a little bit. Even though his last injury really it was so unlucky. Someone just stepped on his ankle completely away from the play. He was just standing there. It was just so unlucky. But I'm excited for him to be back. I still think he's going to have elite RB1 upside. I think if you have him in fantasy, you have to be starting him, regardless of matchup. Those are my thoughts on Saquon. I'm pumped for him to be back. That's overall my biggest thought. Pittman or CEH? Yeah, don't start CEH. CEH is a trap, guys. CEH is a complete trap. Cam or Carr, Godwin or Allen? Cam Newton or Derek Carr? Godwin or Allen? Again, I like Cam this week. I have Cam in my top 10 quarterbacks. I don't have Derek Carr in my top 10 quarterbacks. Cam Newton, guys, it's the rushing for me. It's the rushing. His rushing floor is like 50 yards in a TD today. He's going to run a lot. There is this added layer of risk with Cam because PJ Walker apparently is still going to be involved at times. So I would argue Derek Carr might be a little bit safer. In Godwin versus Allen, you got to be starting Keenan Allen. Sam, my boy, 2-year sub, love the app. I'm in a bind here. I got Barkley, Zeke, and Jeff Wilson, Mark Ingram. Start 3 full PPR. Thanks, man. Yeah, I think you benchmark Ingram here. And thanks for subscribing, man. I really do appreciate it. It's the number one way you could possibly support me. by subscribing in the WalterPicks app or even just subscribing to the YouTube channel. But I do think that Mark Ingram is a bit of a trap this week. I think he's going to be starting for the Saints. But Tony Jones, I think, will be more involved than people realize. It might not happen this week in his first game back, but he was drafted by the Saints to eventually become a part of the Saints backfield. And he's activated for the first time since week 4 this week. I don't think they want to give Mark Ingram this massive workload. So that's why I'm a little bit nervous about Ingram this week against the Eagles. And the Eagles actually have had a pretty good run defense this season as well. So I think I would bench Mark Ingram. You don't want to bench Saquon for Mark Ingram. Hey, Sam, just subscribe to the channel. Thanks, James. I appreciate it, man. Who should I start at flex full PPR? Renfro, T. Higgins, or Jeff? Yeah, it's Jeff Wilson. It's got to be Jeff Wilson. They're playing the Jaguars. The 49ers, they're only 6-point favorites somehow against the Jaguars, but Jeff Wilson could see 20-plus carries today. The 49ers are very adamant about not giving Trey Sermon any chances anymore for whatever reason. For whatever Trey Sermon did, he's kind of in the past now. Can you help me, DJ Moore or David Montgomery? WalterPicks says Moore. Yeah, David Montgomery's 100% safer than DJ Moore. And by the way, I love phrasing the question as this is what the WalterPicks app said. What do you think? I appreciate that. Thanks for trying out the app. But yeah, I think I would lean DJ Moore also. But David Montgomery's 100% safer. He's got to be safer. Do I trade Debo because he's probably overplaying or keep him because of his playoff schedules? Yeah, don't trade Debo. He's not overplaying. This is what Tebow Samuel is, man. This is how good Tebow Samuel is. Hey, Sam. Just download the app. Mark Ingram or T. Higgins. I'm in a must-win situation. Yeah, it's T. Higgins, man. It's got to be T. Higgins over Mark Ingram this week for me. I'm nervous about Mark Ingram this week. I don't think Mark Ingram's a lock by any means. And I was all in on Mark Ingram last week. I had him in basically every single Draftkings lineup I did. And he went over 20 points. I started him in every league I had him. I'm not starting him this week with as much confidence as last week. I still think he's going to see probably 15-plus touches. He had 14 carries and 4 catches last week, so 18 total touches, 108 yards, touchdown, 20 fantasy points. He played 70% of the snaps. I think that's his ceiling this week. What Mark Ingram did last week is his ceiling this week. Again, Tony Jones is back, the rookie for the New Orleans Saints that was not active last week. He hasn't been active since week 4. Yo, what's up, Sam? Jeff Wilson or Bateman at flex? Yeah, it's got to be Jeff Wilson. And we don't know if Lamar's playing yet, but it's got to be Jeff Wilson. Jeff Wilson he could get 20 touches against the Jaguars. And Jeff Wilson's another one of these guys on a team similar to David Montgomery. Honestly, better than David Montgomery because the 49ers are better than the Bears. But similar to the Bears, the 49ers clearly want to run the ball. They have one of the highest rush rates in the league. Even when they're down, they're going to run. It's going to work perfectly against a team like the Jaguars. I think the Jaguars could lose by 40 points this week. Hunter Renfro or Kadarius Toney. Yeah, we have, I believe, Sterling Shepard out this week, Kenny Golladay, and Toney in. So we haven't had all 3 of those guys in the game. It feels like since the first time Kadarius Toney was even playing. I don't even know if we've had a game with all 3 of them, honestly. The Giants' injuries have just been brutal. But yeah, we have Kenny Golladay active this week, Kadarius Toney active, and Sterling Shepard out. Yeah, so I was right about that. And they're going up against the Bucks. So Kadarius Toney does have kind of an intriguing ceiling. I still think I'd probably go Hunter Renfro. Renfro has been one of Derek Carr's favorite targets this whole season, and that's only improved since Henry Ruggs leaving the team, or I guess being cut from the team. So I would probably lean Hunter Renfro over Kadarius Toney. I don't know how we can trust Kadarius Toney at this point in time, even though I do think he's really good. Really need help. Diggs or Chase this week? I have to start one. Yeah, it's got to be Diggs. It's got to be Diggs. You can't not bench. You can't not play Diggs this week. Tua or Cam? Yeah, honestly, to me, this is the question of the week. Is Cam Newton a solid start? Yeah, he is. Cam Newton is a solid start, guys. Cam Newton is a solid start. To me, his floor rushing, just his rushing floor is 50 yards and a TD, and boom, that's over 10 points right there. Like he's gonna have at least 10 points. I actually think in a head-to-head contest that Tua is better than Cam. And let me explain why. And if you come to the YouTube live, by the way, link is in the TikTok bio. We're live on YouTube also right now. You can see my top 10 quarterbacks just at the bottom of the screen. But if you come to the YouTube live, you'll see in my top 10 quarterbacks, Cam Newton is sitting right there at number 8. And you won't see Tua in the top 10. But I'm actually playing Tua over Cam in my DraftKings lineup this week, even though Tua costs a little bit more. In one of my fantasy leagues, I'm playing Tua over Cam as well. I like Cam. I do. I think you can start Cam this week. And I think his ceiling is higher than Tua's. But Tua really is one of the most overlooked QBs in fantasy football this week. Tua has not had a game under 15 fantasy points. He's only played 4 games. He has not had a game under 15 points, and he's played good defenses, the Patriots and the Bills. He went over 15 points against both those teams. And in his 2+ matchups against the Falcons and the Jaguars, he went over 22 points in both those games. And so really his floor is 15 points. His ceiling is closer to 30 points. He gets the Jets this week. And he's not even on the injury report. This is the healthiest Tua has been arguably all season. So I think Tua is the better and safer play, but I do like Cam Newton a lot too. Cam's back, guys, and the rushing floor is exciting for Cam. Tua does not have the same rushing floor as Cam. So personally, in a head-to-head contest, if you're really trying to play it safe, you go Tua. If you're trying to go and shoot for the moon and play for the upside, then you go Cam. That's why Cam's ranked ahead of Tua for me in my rankings, but why in my head-to-head contest I'm playing Tua because Tua is safer. PJ Walker apparently is going to be involved too on some level, which adds a whole nother layer of risk for Cam. Here we are again, Sam. David Johnson, Eno Benjamin, or Tony Jones PPR. You're really scraping the bottom of the barrel here. David Johnson, Eno Benjamin, or Tony Jones. Yeah, I think I would probably play Eno Benjamin over David Johnson and Tony Jones. I'd probably play David Johnson over Tony Jones also. It's just so uncertain how much Tony Jones is actually going to play. At least this week. And then Devonte Smith, Mooney, or Ayuka the Bazooka. Yeah, I would probably lean towards Devonte Smith over all those guys. Even in a tough matchup against Marshawn Lattimore. Guys, if you're watching live on YouTube, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. When we get to 250 likes, we got way more than 250 people tuned in right now across YouTube and TikTok. Hit the like button on the YouTube live. Link is in the TikTok bio if you're not on the YouTube live right now. When we get to 250 likes, they got a free prop pick for us. Let me pull up my favorite picks against the spread today. I want to go just game by game really quickly. So obviously Patriots -7 cash. I mean, that game really wasn't even close throughout the entire game. The Falcons didn't score a single point. We're pretty embarrassing. Browns -11.5 first lines. I'm taking a lot of favorites today, which I'm pretty nervous about. I don't like picking this many favorites because we've seen how the NFL season has gone. Like all these favorites can't win today. But I think the Browns are going to bounce back in a big way after a pretty embarrassing loss to the Pats last week. And I also think the Browns, this matchup is really perfect for the Browns. It is really perfect for the Browns. The Browns have a very good offensive line. Nick Chubb is back after being out last week with COVID. And this is just setting up perfectly for a big run-heavy day for the Browns against a really, really lackluster Detroit Lions defense that is horrible against the run. I also have Tim Boyle starting for the Detroit Lions. He was really good in the preseason. But, I mean, we can't feel confident about Tim Boyle. We really can't. I think we should root for Tim Boyle. I'd love to see the Lions get their first win. But I don't feel confident at all about Tim Boyle. So I'm taking the Browns at -11 here. This one could end up being a closer game than I think. But the Browns are a much more talented team than the Lions. We have the Panthers up against the Washington football team today. This is such a good spot for the Panthers offense. It's such a good spot for the Panthers offense. The Washington defense, no more Chase Young. And even with Chase Young, the Washington defense has been one of the worst defenses in the NFL this season. Panthers, I'm taking -3.5 at Washington. 49ers are only 6-point favorites against the Jaguars. That line honestly doesn't make that much sense to me. I don't have it as a lock, but I would be pretty surprised if the 49ers don't beat the Jaguars by more than 6 points. Hey, Sam, Gallup, Michael Carter, Jeff Wilson, or Saquon flexible. Yeah, you got to start Saquon. If you have Saquon, you got to start Saquon. I would start Saquon over Jeff Wilson. I understand why you want to play Jeff Wilson over Saquon, but you can't do it. You can't play Jeff Wilson over Saquon. And yeah, so at a high level, yes, I think you should be starting Saquon Barkley in basically all situations. Should I start Clyde? No, you shouldn't start Clyde. Any weather updates today? No, there's no weather updates. There's one game that might have rain, and that game was the Browns versus the Lions, which to me, again, only helps the Browns run-heavy approach even more. But other than that, no, there's no wind over 25 miles an hour. Really no major weather that I'm concerned about today. And someone says the Jaguars beat the Bills. Yeah, this is exactly why the Jaguars beating the Bills, to me, will be the most shocking upset of the whole season. The Bills, even more shocking than the Jaguars beating the Bills was the fact that the Bills only scored 6 points in that game. Just insane. But yeah, that's exactly why I don't feel good about picking this many favorites. The Jaguars beating the Bills is proof that any team at any time could beat any other team in the NFL. So you got to humble yourself a little bit after the Jaguars beat the Bills. Cam or Dak? It's got to be Dak. It's got to be Dak. You got to start Dak. Some quarterbacks. Let's just run through really quickly some guys you got to start this week. Then we'll dive back into the comments. So really quickly, some guys you absolutely have to start. We're going to just, again, if you come to the YouTube live, also if you're watching live on TikTok, you can see my top 10 rankings, quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, all on the YouTube live on the screen, scrolling at the bottom. Link is in the TikTok bio for that. But really quickly, some quarterbacks you absolutely need to start this week. Josh Allen, obviously. Patrick Mahomes, obviously. Lamar, if he plays, you got to start him. But we're not sure he's going to play yet, so hang tight on that one. I think you have to start Aaron Rodgers, even though he's dealing with a toe injury. I think you have to start Tom Brady, and you have to start Dak Prescott. Those are the 6 quarterbacks I'd say you absolutely have to start this week. Let me run through those again really quickly. Quarterbacks you absolutely have to start. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson if he plays, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Dak Prescott. End of list. Those are the guys you absolutely have to start. Really, there's no debate there. Running backs you have to start. There's a lot of them this week. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey. Guys, there's so much talk right now that Jonathan Taylor is going to be the #1 overall pick next season. I saw a video on TikTok this week. I forget who it was, of predicting the top 5 picks in fantasy football next year, and Christian McCaffrey wasn't even on the list. Absolute joke. Christian McCaffrey has been over 20 fantasy points in over 90% of his games over the last 2.5 years. McCaffrey is the #1 overall pick next year if he's fully healthy. I don't think I could be convinced otherwise. He's my #1 overall running back this week. He's got to be started every single week for the rest of the season. Najee Harris, obviously, you're starting him. Austin Eckler, DeAndre Swift, Dalvin Cook, Jonathan Taylor, Nick Chubb. I would say all of those guys are pretty obvious must-starts. After that, Leonard Fournette, James Conner, A.J. Dillon, you got to be starting those guys. I would add into this list. I think David Montgomery is a must-start player this week. I think Jeff Wilson and Saquon Barkley are must-starts as well. I would be playing Saquon over Jeff Wilson, but I think both those guys are must-starts this week as well. At the tight end position, this is going to be a short list of must-start tight ends. You got to start Travis Kelce, obviously, Darren Waller, and George Kittle. Every week I feel like I'm seeing George Kittle questions. Guys, George Kittle should be in your starting lineup for the rest of the season. No questions asked. Mark Andrews, even if Lamar doesn't play, I think Mark Andrews is a must-start. Mike Gesicki, I know, Mike Gesicki and TJ Hawkinson both put up donuts last week. You kind of have to start him this week still. And the last must-start tight end for me is Dalton Schultz. There's no Amari Cooper this week. I think that increases the odds of Dalton Schultz scoring a TD. And if you score a touchdown at the tight end position, you finish as a top 12 tight end. That's how bad tight ends are in fantasy land. So those are the guys you got to be starting at tight end. All right, wide receivers, really quickly. Some receivers you have to be starting. You have to start A.J. Brown. I know it's been a down few weeks for A.J. Brown. You got to start A.J. Brown. This is a massive, massive bounce back spot for A.J. Brown against the Texans. You got to be starting Tebow Samuel. You have to start Jamar Chase. You got to start Keenan Allen. You got to start Justin Jefferson. You got to start Chris Godwin, and you got to start DJ Moore. You have to start DJ Moore. I know DJ Moore has been down big time as well. You got to start DJ Moore this week. DJ Moore has had at least 7 targets in every single game this season. He's had at least 7 targets in every single game this season. But the real reason you're starting DJ Moore is because he's up against Washington. Washington has been one of the worst secondaries in the NFL this season, one of the worst defenses in the NFL this season. People were expecting Washington to be this dominant defense heading into the season. That's not been the case at all. And they lost Chase Young. This is a really good spot for the Panthers offense. That's why you got to be starting DJ Moore. And DJ Moore, again, at least 7 targets in every single game he's played this season. With the type of talent that DJ Moore has, I think that's enough to convince you to start DJ Moore. Do I start Carter or Monty? Yeah, I like Michael Carter a lot too this week against the Dolphins. The Dolphins have really had one of the softest run defenses in the NFL this season. I think I would still probably lean away from Michael Carter, though, in that situation. DFS lineup. Yeah, let me pull up my Draftkings lineup again. I'm going with Tua at quarterback. I think it's between Tua and Cam for me as in a head-to-head DraftKings lineup. I like Tua, his floor a little bit more than Cam's though, which is why I'm going with Tua. I think his floor is 15 points, his ceiling is 30. He's had at least 15 points in every full game he's played. And we've seen him score almost 30 points against, I think it was the Jaguars. Maybe it was the Falcons. I'm going with A.J. Dillon, Quadzilla. Guys, A.J. Dillon could see 30 carries today. He could see 30 carries today. A.J. Quadzilla Dillon, no Aaron Jones this week. You got to be feeling really good about the upside of A.J. Dillon and the floor for A.J. Dillon. I'm going with David Montgomery at running back too. I think his salary didn't make any sense this week on DraftKings. I know he's been out for a while, but he came back. He's coming off a bye week. But before the bye week, he led the league in running back snap share after missing like 5 straight weeks with an injury. Watkins. No, I think Watkins is a trap this week. Assuming even if Lamar Jackson plays, I think Watkins is not a guy that you can really trust. Like Watkins, even without Marquise Hollywood Brown playing this week, Watkins could score 0 points. That's the type of floor Watkins has. I need help on Michael Pittman this week. Yeah, I think Pittman is a pretty scary option this week. The Bills' secondary has been the number 1 secondary in the NFL. I think the Colts' offense could really struggle today. The wide receivers I'm going with in my DraftKings lineup, I'm going with A.J. Brown, who to me is just like he's going to bounce back this week, guys. You want A.J. Brown in all your lineups. Tebow Samuel. I'm going with Jalen Waddle as well. No wide receivers run more routes this season than Jalen Waddle. I think this could be Jalen Waddle's first game of the season over 100 total yards. And then at flex, I'm going with Michael Gallup. And at tight end, I'm going with Dalton Schultz because I want pieces of that Cowboys-Chiefs game. And most of the pieces are super expensive, but Gallup and Schultz are not. And then I'm going with the Panthers defense because I think Washington, just in general, could struggle against the Panthers. The Panthers defense has been one of the best defenses in the NFL this season. And with Stephon Gilmore, they've only gotten better. Devonte Smith or Mike Gesicki at flex. Yeah, if you've been following me for long enough, you know I just can't stomach starting 2 tight ends. You don't start 2 tight ends. We saw exactly why last week. Like Mike Gesicki and T.J. Hockenson, 2 of the better tight ends in fantasy football, 2 top 10 tight ends this season and really every week. Scored 0 points last week because that's what tight ends do, man. That's the floor. The floor for tight ends is always so low. Don't start 2 of them. Like if you don't have to, don't start 2 tight ends. Like why are you going to put yourself through that misery? Do I start Wilson Jr., Foreman, or Damien Williams? Yeah, it's got to be Wilson. Got to be Jeff Wilson. What's up, Sam? Love the app and all of the content. Thanks, man. Need 3. DJ Moore, Jeff Wilson, Higgins, Lockett, Waddle, Gibson. Yeah, I think I would probably go with DJ Moore, Jeff Wilson, and Jalen Waddle. I like Jalen Waddle, I think, a little bit more than T. Higgins this week, even though I do like T. Higgins. Sam the man, happy PR. Sammy Watkins, Rondell Moore, Hines, or T.Y. Hilton. Thanks. Thank you, my guy. Love the app. Thanks, Philip. I appreciate that. These are all pretty risky options this week. I'm a huge fan of Rondell Moore. Like I have Rondell Moore in a few of my teams. I just can't get myself to drop him. But I feel like he probably, like most of these guys really in this question, should be dropped in most leagues. I don't think you can go with Sammy Watkins. I really don't. I don't hate T.Y. Hilton, but the Bills is not a good matchup for him. I'd probably go Rondell Moore. I think I would go Rondell Moore out of all these guys with no DeAndre Hopkins for one more week. Pick 2, Sanders, Darrell Williams, or Deontay Foreman. Yeah, I think I would probably lean towards the last 2. I don't know how we can trust Miles Sanders against the Saints in his first game back. He already was struggling before the injury. Hey, Sam, I gave WalterPicks a 5-star review. Thanks, man. Yeah, guys, if I help you at all in these live streams, a 5-star review for the WalterPicks app is greatly appreciated. If Lamar plays, should I play Bateman, T. Higgins, or Gallup? I think you've got to go Bateman if Lamar plays. But if he doesn't play, I think I would go Gallup over T. Higgins. I think T. Higgins is probably the safest option, but Gallup's ceiling is just so high in that game against the Chiefs. That game could be so high scoring. Hey, Sam, I love the app. Can you pick 3? Monty, Elliott, Ingram, or Connor? David Montgomery, Zeke Elliott, Mark Ingram, or James Conner? Yeah, I think you got to play Zeke. You got to play David Montgomery, and you got to play James Conner. I think Mark Ingram's a little bit of a trap this week. I'm fine benching Mark Ingram. Thank you for the gifts. in the TikTok live. I do appreciate that. Gallup or McLaurin? Yeah, I think I would lean towards Terry McLaurin over Michael Gallup. Ingram, Jeff Wilson, Thielen, thank you. Also, how come Cooks wasn't in your top 10? Is it Dalvin Cook or Brandon Cooks? I think I would go Jeff Wilson and Thielen, though, over Mark Ingram. Let me pull up my top 10 running backs. No, Dalvin Cook was in there, so you must be talking about Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks is Brandon Cooks the guy that has to be in my top 10? I feel like he's not. By the way, if you come to the YouTube live, link is in the TikTok bio. You can see my top 10 rankings, quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends. You can answer a lot of the questions. Like I just saw a Lamar Jackson or Joe Burrow question. I'm seeing a Patrick Mahomes or Cam Newton question in the TikTok live. Like, come to the YouTube live. Link is in the TikTok bio. You can just see my top 10 QBs right on the screen, and then we'll answer the questions for you. You got to start Patrick Mahomes, and you got to start Lamar Jackson if Lamar Jackson plays. Knox or Schultz? That's a really good one. I would lean towards Schultz this week. Knox let us down big time last week. He was in a lot of my DraftKings lineups. I still think Knox has a really high ceiling, but with Amari Cooper out, I want Dalton Schultz this week in that what should be a really high scoring game between the Cowboys and the Chiefs. Good morning, Sam. Been following you for a while. Love the content. Thanks, Justin. What's your thoughts on Gibson moving forward? Is he back finally, or was last week an outlier? Yeah, man, he's probably not back to the sense where like he's going to be what we were hoping he was going to be heading into the season, which was like a Christian McCaffrey type workload for Antonio Gibson, because Antonio Gibson's that guy. Like, he's good, and he had a season high since week 1. He had not played this many snaps since week 1 that he saw in week 10 coming off the bye week, which is encouraging because really like the concern for Antonio Gibson all season and the problem for Antonio Gibson all season has been his shin injury. Like, he's dealing with injuries. And he scored 2 touchdowns last week. He's probably not going to score 2 touchdowns in most games this season. He had 24 carries in a game that really, like, oddly was led by Washington for most of the game. I think it's honestly more of I think it's more of a one-week wonder type of situation for Antonio Gibson than what we can expect moving forward. I would be trying to sell Antonio Gibson if you had him. Gave the app a 5-star review. Thanks, DJ. Gallup or McLaurin? Yeah, I would lean towards McLaurin over Gallup, though I do like Gallup a lot. Hey, man, love the videos. Got 2 questions. Terry or Pittman, and thoughts on Miles Sanders? Yeah, I would lean towards Terry over Pittman, and I think Miles Sanders is a trap this week. Again, the Saints have a good run defense. This isn't a great first game back for him, but on top of all that, I think Jordan Howard and Boston Scott will still have a role in the offense. Need help. 14-team PPR league. We got J.D. McKissick, Alex Collins, and let me see who the last guy was here. Boston Scott or Devontae Freeman. Yeah, I would probably lean towards Alex Collins. I think Alex Collins is a bit of a trap this week also. Like, I'm not feeling great about Alex Collins this week because Rashad Penny, I think, is going to have a bigger role than people realize. But he's still going to be the only starting running back on this list. So that's why I would go with Alex Collins. Appreciate you. I appreciate you too, man. Thanks for tuning in. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I do appreciate it. We're live on YouTube and TikTok right now. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. I really do appreciate that. And thank you for tuning in. I think time is the most valuable thing we have in life. So I appreciate you spending some time with me this Sunday morning. And I hope you're as excited to spend some time watching football later today as I am. Dearness Johnson or Zach Moss? I'd probably go with Dearness Johnson at this point. I mean, Zach Moss is really just drawn dead for me. I don't know how you could possibly feel good about Zach Moss. He's been outplayed by Devin Singletary really the entire season. He hasn't had a single game as a running back 1, despite a lot of like good situations for Zach Moss. On a good team, he played 3 bad defenses in a row: the Dolphins, the Jaguars, and the Jets. The Bills are coming off games against the Dolphins, the Jaguars, and the Jets, and Zach Moss didn't score over 12 points in a single one of those games. He only had 1 touchdown in those 3 games. He's played less than 40% of the snaps in back-to-back games, and that was against the Jaguars and the Jets. So, yeah, you can't be playing Zach Moss. Yo, Sam, who would you start over Jeff Wilson? Yeah, let me get to that question. Jonathan Taylor, A.J. Dillon, Nick Chubb. Yeah, you got to go those first 3. You can't bench Jonathan Taylor, A.J. Dillon, or Nick Chubb, even though I like David Montgomery this week. Yo, Sam, who would you start over Jeff Wilson? I like this question. Let me pull up my top 10 running backs. I think that will help me answer this question as well. I think I would start every single player in my top 10 running backs. Again, come to the YouTube live. Link is in the TikTok bio. You can see my top 10 running backs on the screen right now. But some other guys that I would start over Jeff Wilson, I would start Saquon Barkley over Jeff Wilson. And I would I don't feel great about that one. I think Jeff Wilson probably will touch the ball more than Saquon Barkley. But if you have Saquon Barkley in fantasy, then what are you waiting for other than to start him when he's playing? Like, he's played so few games this season. When he's playing and he says he's 100%, you got to be starting Saquon. I do think Devontae Booker's still going to have a role for the Giants. And this obviously isn't like the best matchup against the Bucs, but you still got to be starting Saquon. So yeah, I would start Saquon over Jeff Wilson. I think that's probably it. It's probably these top 10 running backs. I don't know if David Montgomery is the guy I would start over Jeff Wilson. I think I would probably start Jeff Wilson over David Montgomery too. I like David Montgomery this week a lot, but Jeff Wilson has the better matchup, and he's probably going to touch the ball more than even David Montgomery. So yeah, those are the guys I would start. Those are the running backs I'd start over Jeff Wilson. Mark Ingram or Bateman, PPR. Yeah, if Lamar plays, it's got to be Bateman. We have not gotten an update yet on if Lamar Jackson is playing or not. But I think I would go Bateman if Lamar plays. The math hat. Russ or Cam. Yeah, I would lean towards Cam. Russ is not in a good spot this week against the Cardinals. He looked bad last week. I don't know how we can trust Russ right now. Obviously, it's Russell Wilson. Like, none of us should be surprised if he goes absolutely off this week and completely flips the switch after a really, really bad game against the Packers. But the Cardinals defense has been good this season. It's been like much, much better than I expected it to be. And I think most people expected it to be. So I don't think you can trust Russ. I think I would go Cam over Russ. And I think Cam has a much better rushing floor and ceiling than Russ too. Like, again, I think the floor for Cam this week rushing is 50 yards and a touchdown. And boom, you already got 10 fantasy points right there. It's 12 points or 11 points, depending on your scoring format. And Russell Wilson's coming off a game. He threw the ball 40 times. He only had 160 yards and 0 touchdowns, 2 INTs. This is the most he's thrown in any game this season. He hasn't had over 20 fantasy points since week 4. I know he's missed a lot of time, but yeah, I don't feel great about Russ. Alex Collins over CEH. Yeah, I don't think you can trust CEH. Hey Sam, love the streams. Thanks, man. Pick 2: Waddle, Bateman, Ayuka the Bazooka, or Devontae versus Lattimore, or Hurts, or Herbert. Yeah, I think Waddle is a pretty obvious must start this week against the Jets. No players run more routes than Jalen Waddle this season. I think this could be the first game that Jalen Waddle goes over 100 total yards. If Lamar plays, I think the second player here is Bateman. If Lamar doesn't play, I think I would go with Ayuka the Bazooka. I'm nervous about Devonte Smith this week. I am. I know he's having a breakout couple of games, and I still think the ceiling is there, but for me, the floor is a little bit scarier. In Hurts versus Herbert, that one's tough. If you look at my top 10 quarterbacks, you'll see I have Justin Herbert ranked number 7 and Jalen Hurts ranked number 9. I think I would go Justin Herbert over Jalen Hurts. I know a lot of people are scared about Justin Herbert, rightfully so. He's been pretty down recently, but I still think you got to trot him out there with confidence. 5-star Raider before I got banned from the App Store. Yikes. How'd you get banned from the App Store? Last week I said I was going in debt, but I didn't. So this week I'm risking it all. Putting my house on your picks. Please don't let me down. Yikes, man. Jeez. That's a lot, Zeke. I am feeling good about the picks this week, but I think the number one rule, man, with sports betting, number one rule with really most monetary things, you cannot risk more than you can afford to lose, man. So be careful. Be careful out there. Nothing's a guarantee. Results are not guaranteed. All right. Let's get to this question from Chase. Use the WalterPicks app for this trade, and it said no. Should I trade Jerry Jeudy for T. Higgins? Yeah, I think I would prefer Jerry Jeudy just slightly. But I don't really understand the one-for-one trades like that much anyway. Hey, Sam, awesome stream. Thanks, man. Landry or cut him for Corey Davis or Kirk in standard. Yeah, I would prefer Corey Davis to Jarvis Landry right now. Jeff Wilson, a must-start? Yeah, he is. He's a must-start. Start 2, DJ Moore, Ingram, and Jeff. Yes, bench Ingram. Guys, this is a really, I do think Caleb Hendricks, what's going on, man? Any chance of pushing through Andrew and I's trade? Yeah, Caleb, I'll push that through after the live stream because I'm live on TikTok right now on my phone, and I don't have sleeper on my computer, I don't think. But I'll push it through. What was the trade, Caleb? Lots of trades going down in the 32-person WalterPicks Fantasy League. But I will push that through. I'll check it before before. Usually I'll wrap up the stream around 30 minutes before kickoff. So it'll be probably through then. What's up, Sam? 2 questions. Lockett or Kadarius Toney? Yeah, I'd go Lockett. In pick 2, Gaskin, Montgomery, or Carter. I'd probably go Montgomery over Gaskin and Carter this week. Gaskin versus Carter. They're playing in the same game. That one's much closer. I think Walter has Gaskin projected for like way more points than Carter. Walter loves Gaskin this week. Walter's our artificially intelligent algorithm that powers the WalterPicks app. And he also simulates each week 10,000 times to get, a range of outcomes for every player. But I like Carter more than Gaskin. I like Carter more than Gaskin. But again, the Dolphins are probably going to beat the Jets. And so that plays into Gaskin's favor a little bit. But personally, I like Carter more than Gaskin. Duke Johnson, I don't know if this might be me overthinking things a little bit. Duke Johnson was activated this week for the Miami Dolphins. Duke Johnson has not played in the game for any team this season. He's been on the practice squad for the Dolphins for a few weeks now. He's activated this week. And I honestly think Duke Johnson's the best receiving back immediately that the Dolphins have. Duke Johnson's been one of the best receiving backs in the NFL since he's been in the league. He's basically a wide receiver. I'm pretty sure he used to have wide receiver running back designation back in the day on Yahoo when he was on the Browns. Then he was on the Texans. Now he's on the Dolphins. But maybe I'm overthinking that, and that doesn't affect Gaskin at all. Good morning, Sam. Appreciate all that you do for your followers. Thanks, man. Freiermuth over Hawkinson just because I'm worried about Tim Boyle. What are your thoughts? Yeah, I still think I'd go Hawkinson over Freiermuth. Like, Hawkinson's still probably going to get more targets than Muth. So I think I would still go with Hawkinson. Tony, Watkins, or Collins? Yeah, it's probably Collins. I don't like Collins that much this week, but it's probably Collins. All right, guys, we are live on YouTube. We are live on TikTok. If you come to the YouTube live, you can see my top 10 rankings for every single position, and you can see my favorite picks against the spread. The link is in the TikTok bio. Are you starting Cam this week? Yeah, I am. I am starting Cam this week. I'm also starting Tua this week. I like both them a lot. I think Cam has a little bit higher of a ceiling than Tua, but both guys to me are going to go over 15 points. I think they're both available in most fantasy leagues too. Pick 2, Jeff Wilson, Darrell Williams, James Robinson, and Fournette. Yeah, it's got to be you got to start Jeff Wilson, and then I'd probably go Fournette over James Robinson. I don't feel great about benching James Robinson, but he's been battling injuries too. There's so many guys battling through injuries this season. We got Aaron Rodgers playing through what sounds like actually a pretty significant toe injury. We got Baker Mayfield playing through like all sorts of injuries. I feel like it's going to be another season where it's like, all right, Baker really wasn't it, but he also dealt with tons of injuries that we got to give him another chance after this season. James Robinson's coming off another good game, though, against the Colts. He only had 12 carries, 4 catches, but he scored a touchdown, 84 yards. And they get the 49ers this week. I don't want to bench James Robinson. Honestly, I think I'd probably go Jeff Wilson and James Robinson. Can you pull up the tight end rankings? Yeah, sure can pull up the tight end rankings. Do I start Lamar? Yeah, you got to start Lamar if he plays, but he might not play. It sounds like he's going to play, but it's not been officially confirmed. He's been dealing with some sort of illness, non-COVID related illness all week. He hasn't practiced much this week at all. Mooney or Landry? I don't know how you can trust Jarvis Landry. How can you trust Jarvis Landry? He's done nothing this season. He's another guy who's battling through injuries. Donovan Peoples-Jones is out this week. Like, that should be even a bigger boost for Jarvis Landry. But this is a game against the Lions where I think the Browns are just going to run and run and run and run with Nick Chubb and Dearness Johnson. I won't be surprised if both guys score a touchdown today. Jarvis Landry has had one game, a single game, over 10 fantasy points since week 1. So you can't be trusting Jarvis at this point. He has not gone over 40 yards except for one game since week 1. He doesn't have a single game with 75 or more receiving yards this season. Like, his ceiling is non-existent. There is no ceiling for Jarvis Landry. So I think you should be straying away from Jarvis. Herbert or Cousins? Yeah, I'd go Herb over Cousins. Montgomery or Cooks in the flex? Yeah, I'd go Demont over Cooks. I don't hate Cooks. I don't hate Cooks against the Titans. The Titans secondary has not been great, but I do really like Montgomery this week. Cook, Dillon or Mixon pick 2. Yeah, you got to go this first 2. I would play Cook and Dillon over Mixon. I would. I think you can't be benching Dalvin Cook, obviously, Dan. A.J. Dillon versus Mixon, I think, is actually really close, but I would lean towards A.J. Dillon over Joe Mixon. If you see my top 10 running backs at the bottom of the YouTube live, again, link is in the TikTok bio. We're live on YouTube also. Hit the like button, by the way. When we get 250 likes, I got a free prop pick for us. But you see A.J. Dillon's in the top 10. Mixon's not in the top 10. I think Mixon's probably number 11 or 12. But I would go A.J. Dillon over Joe Mixon. A.J. Dillon's just going to touch the ball more than Joe Mixon today. A.J. Dillon could get 30 carries. You want A.J. Dillon in your lineups. Cam or Tua? Yeah, this is the question of the day for me. I think this is a really good one. And I think it's a really good one for DraftKings decisions this week too, because these to me are the two best values on DraftKings this week. Cam Newton versus Tua. To me, Cam Newton has a more exciting ceiling because of the rushing. And because of how rushing is scored in fantasy, like you got to really like Cam Newton this week. It's why I have Cam Newton ranked as a top 10 quarterback. I don't have Tua ranked as a top 10 quarterback this week. But I am starting Tua over Cam in my DraftKings lineup. Because Tua is also in a really good spot. He's only played 4 games this season. People just hate Tua. I feel like just in general, everyone's given up on Tua already. Even though he's really just had his career derailed by injuries. And he hasn't been that bad when he's played. He's played 4 games this season. He's gone over 15 points in all 4 of those games, 2 of which were against top 10 defenses, the Patriots and the Bills. The Bills are a top 5 defense, arguably the number 1 defense. He went over 15 points against them. And then he also had 2 games against bad defenses, the Jaguars and the Falcons, and Tua went over 22 fantasy points in both of those games and had a ceiling of 28 points. So I feel like Tua actually is like a really safe play this week. I think he's safer than Cam. The added layer of risk with Cam is P.J. Walker and how much P.J. Walker is actually going to play, because it sounds like they don't fully trust Cam as a passer. And like that, as a Patriots fan, I can understand. Cam has lost his passing abilities over the years. He's not the passer he once was. He's still pretty much as good of a runner as he was, though. Not quite as good, obviously, but he's still good. So that's why I'm playing Tua over Cam, but I still like Cam. I like both guys as pretty good options this week, and both are available in most leagues. Tua or Lamar. Yeah, if Lamar plays, guys, you got to start Lamar. If Lamar plays, you got to start Lamar. Kirk or Tua. Yeah, I'd go Tua over Kirk. What's going on, Sam? Would you start Jeff Wilson, Gaskin, Michael Carter, pick 2? Love the app. Thanks, Ryan. Yeah, I would start Jeff Wilson. Definitely. And then Gaskin versus Michael Carter, I think, is another really tough one. They're both playing in the same game. We should expect the Dolphins to beat the Jets. Joe Flacco is starting for the Jets. I mean, what a joke. Joe Flacco is starting this week, guys, for the Jets. But I still like Michael Carter more than Gaskin, just in terms of talent. And the Dolphins' run defense is even worse than the Jets. So I think that one's really close. I would lean towards Carter, but Walter leans towards Gaskin there. Opinion on Damien Harris. Yeah, I mean, Damien Harris is exactly what I was hoping he would be this season. He's the clear number 1 running back for the Pats. He actually split work more than I expected with Ramondre this past week. And basically like what the Pats did on Thursday night is they were just switching off drives. Ramondre would play a drive and Damien Harris would play a drive. And it didn't really matter how long that drive was. Like whoever started the drive was going to finish the drive. I kind of liked it. It felt like it kept both guys fresh. But Damien Harris, like he doesn't have very high receiving work. So he's not as good in PPR leagues. He's going to need to score touchdowns. Absolutely benchmark Ingram. Was taking him as a safe start. Pick 3, Ingram, Gibson, Gaskin. Yeah, it's still I would probably play Gaskin over Ingram, but I wouldn't play Ingram. I wouldn't play Gibson or Knox over Ingram. So I think you still got to start at Ingram in that situation. DraftKings/FanDuel picks this week. Yeah, I'm pulling my DraftKings lineup. Here's the DraftKings lineup. If you're watching live on YouTube, if you're watching live on TikTok, come to the YouTube live. You can see my DraftKings lineup on the screen. Russell Wilson or Tua. Yeah, I like Tua more than Russ. Lockett, McKissick, or Sanders. Yeah, I think you go Lockett. I understand why you don't feel great about Lockett, who's been, I mean, like we've seen Lockett's floor for a lot of games in a row now. But don't forget the ceiling with Tyler Lockett. And compared to those other two players, it's not even close. Dylan, Saquon, or Connor. I would rank those guys as A.J. Dillon number 1. I think I'd probably say James Conner number 2 and Saquon number 3. But I want to start all of them. Like, I think all three guys are pretty good options. Tyler Lockett, guys, I guess I'm incorrect here, actually. In week 8, he had 26 points, which was his second to last game. So in the last 4 games for Tyler Lockett, we've seen him go under 6 fantasy points 3 times and over 25 points once. This is what we're dealing with Tyler Lockett. This is what Tyler Lockett is. He could score 5 points or he could score 25 points. And he very rarely is in between. Like, it's either a big game for him or a horrible game for him. I think this one could be a big game, though. This is against a really good Cardinals team. There's no Kyler Murray, though, which makes the game a little bit less exciting. But I still think Tyler Lockett's, like, if you're deciding between him and some other risky options, like, you might as well try out Tyler Lockett. He has a high ceiling, at least. I say him DJ Moore, Rashad Bateman, or Terry McLaurin. Yeah, I like DJ Moore the most. I think Rashad Bateman can be strongly considered, though, if Lamar plays. DK or Cooks, yeah, I would probably go DK. Jeff Wilson or Deontay Johnson, or CD, pick 2, please. Yeah, you got to start CD Lamb. I mean, you have to start CD Lamb this week. There's no Amari Cooper. It's up against the Chiefs. You have to start CD Lamb. The other options in this one, let me scroll up here. Yeah, I think I would probably start Jeff Wilson over Deontay Johnson too. Mike Williams. Yeah, Mike Williams is like, he's basically the same thing as Tyler Lockett, except even worse. He's like a worse version of Tyler Lockett this season. It's even worse for Mike Williams because he started so well. We all thought Mike Williams' first 2 weeks, he was a top 3 fantasy football wide receiver. Since then, he's outside the top 45. Cam or Rodgers? Yeah, I'd go Rodgers over Cam. I think you got to start Rodgers. Let me run through really quickly the guys I think you kind of have to start this week because I think this answers a lot of the questions in the chat. You have to start Josh Allen. You have to start Patrick Mahomes. If Lamar plays, you have to start Lamar. You got to start Aaron Rodgers. You got to start Tom Brady. You got to start Dak Prescott. Those are all the quarterbacks you have to start. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Dak Prescott. You got to start them. Yeah, like really, there's really not much debate there. At running back, I mean, there's so many running backs that you really have to start. I don't think I need to name all of them because some of them are obvious, but some of the less obvious ones, I think you got to be starting Leonard Fournette against the Giants. I think you got to start James Conner against the Seahawks. I think you have to start A.J. Dillon. I think you really want to start David Montgomery this week too, and I think you want to start Jeff Wilson as well. At the tight end position, obviously you got to start the big 3, Kelsey, Waller, and Kittle. But after the top 3 tight ends, I think even if Lamar Jackson doesn't play, you kind of have to start Mark Andrews. And I know Mike Gesicki, T.J. Hawkinson let a lot of people down last week, putting up 0 points. But you got to start both those guys this week too. You got to start Hawkinson. You got to start Mike Gesicki. Even with Tim Boyle at quarterback, I think Hawkinson's a must start. And then the last tight end I think you absolutely have to start is Dalton Schultz. There's no Amari Cooper this week. Some receivers that you got to start. Another pretty long list today at receiver. I think you should be starting DJ Moore. He's one of the few receivers in the NFL with at least 7 targets in every game. He's still pretty clearly the top receiver on his own team. And he has an amazing matchup this week against Washington, who have been a bottom 5 secondary, really a bottom 5 defense this whole season. And they just lost Chase Young with a torn ACL. So I think the Panthers are going to beat up the Washington football team pretty good today. Is the defense for Washington is really bad, and the defense for the Panthers is really good. I think you need to be starting Chris Godwin this week with Antonio Brown out again. Mike Evans has been also just this really low volume receiver this season. I think he had 2 catches last week and ended up scoring like a 40-yard touchdown to save his day. That's like what Mike Evans is. Godwin is the guy that's likely going to out-target Mike Evans with no Antonio Brown. Yeah, Mike Evans has had exactly 2 catches in 3 of his last 4 games, but he's still gotten over 12 points in 3 of his last 4 because he just scores long touchdowns. I don't think Mike Evans is a must start, but he's probably going to score another long touchdown. Devonte or Tony? Yeah, I'd go Devonte Smith over Tony. Tony has such a low floor. I don't love the matchup for Devonte Smith, but I still go him over Tony. Will Gronk play this week? Yeah, it looks like Gronk's back. Do you think Saquon will play? Yeah, Saquon is playing. And I think he's on the borderline of a must start this week. Jimmy G or Tua? Yeah, I would lean towards Tua over Jimmy G. Again, I think Tua's floor this week's 15 points. His ceiling's 30. So I do like Tua a lot. Guys, we're live on YouTube. We're live on TikTok. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. If you're watching us live for the first time on TikTok too, hit that follow button, man. We're putting out TikTok content every single day. Waddle or Michael Carter? I would lean towards Waddle over Michael Carter. I would probably go Joe Mixon over Jeff Wilson, but it is close. Cam or Russ? Yeah, I like Cam more than Russ. I don't know how we can trust Russ right now. How can you trust Russ? He had his most passing attempts of the season last week with 40, and he had 160 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Mark Ingram or Michael Gallup? Yeah, I'd like Gallup more than Ingram. I think that Ingram is a little bit of a trap this week with Tony Jones returning. Good morning, Sam. Good morning. Let's take a look at this question. Gallup or Scary Terry? Yeah, I think I like Scary Terry just a little bit more than Gallup. The matchups are much different, though. I mean, the Panthers' defense is good. Terry McLaurin probably going to be up against Stephon Gilmore, while Michael Gallup's going to be up against the Chiefs. So, Carlos, I don't think you're overthinking it to play Michael Gallup over Terry McLaurin, though I still think Terry McLaurin is a better option than Michael Gallup. I would argue that Gallup has a higher ceiling, though, than McLaurin. DK or Gallup? Yeah, I'd probably go DK Metcalf over Gallup, too. Thoughts on Devonta Foreman? And should I start Bateman over Pittman or Devonta Freeman? Or Devonta Smith or Devonta Freeman? I'm assuming you meant Smith. I don't think you should start. I think I would go with Devonta Smith over Michael Pittman this week. I don't like Michael Pittman at all this week. Good morning, Sam. Been here since the start. 2 quick questions. Kenny and Drake, Devonta Freeman or Adrian Peterson, full PPR? Yeah, it's got to be Drake there. And then Tony or Kirk at flex. I think I'd go Kirk over Tony as well. Hurts or A-Rod? Yeah, I would lean towards Aaron Rodgers over Jalen Hurts. Bateman or Gallup? I'd like Gallup more than Bateman this week. Newton or Cousins? I like Cam Newton more than Kirk Cousins. I like Jalen Hurts more than Cam too. Actually, let me see. I have Cam Newton 1 spot ahead of Jalen Hurts. I have Cam Newton 1 spot ahead of Jalen Hurts. I don't feel great about that. I still think I'd probably start Jalen Hurts over Cam. Cam Newton or Wentz? Yeah, that one's definitely Cam. Guys, you can't start Wentz this week. Wentz is up against the Bills. The Bills are the number 1 secondary in the NFL. I feel like people are overlooking how good the Bills defense is. You adjust for strength of opponent, and the Bills have been number 1 defense in the NFL. It's really not even that close. They've been so consistent. You look at the Bills games, and just no team has done well against the Bills offensively. And I don't think the Colts will today. It's a tough spot for Jonathan Taylor. It's a tough spot for Carson Wentz. You look at all the Bills games, guys. The Steelers in week 1, they scored 23 points. Dolphins had a 0-point game against them. The Texans had a 0-point game against them. The Chiefs only scored 20 points. Washington only scored 21 points. The only offense that has had over 30 points against the Bills is the Titans, who put up 34. No other team has scored more than 25 points against the Bills. Not a single team has scored over 25 points against the Bills, other than the Titans. They've been really consistent. And this game's in Buffalo. So I'm not feeling good about the Colts offense today. McLaurin or Ingram? Yeah, I'd go McLaurin over Ingram. Even though McLaurin's got a tough matchup, I think I would go McLaurin over Ingram. Let me pull this up really quick. I want to look at the Eagles' run defense really quickly. Newton or Wilson? Yeah, I'd go Newton over Wilson. Guys, Cam is back. He's back, man. And I think that he has a much safer floor than Russ. After what we saw last week from the 2 guys, Tua or Wentz, it's got to be Tua over Wentz. DFS lineup. Yeah, come to the YouTube live. Link is in the TikTok bio. I have my Draftkings lineup on the screen right now. So come to the YouTube live. You can check that out. So the Eagles' run defense has been not very good this season. I think I said they were good earlier in the stream. I was wrong about that. They ranked 7th worst against running backs this season. maybe Mark Ingram isn't as bad of a play as I've been saying. Tony Jones is back. We saw Mark Ingram. He had 18 touches last week. He turned that into 20 fantasy points. And that was against the Tennessee Titans, who also haven't been very good against the run this season. But they've been better than the Eagles. So yeah, I think I changed my mind here. I think back to the question that I was answering before I pulled up the DraftKings lineup. I think it was Mark Ingram versus Terry McLaurin. I think I would go Mark Ingram over Terry McLaurin. The matchups are much different for the two guys. Montgomery or Gaskin. Yeah, I'd go Monty over Gaskin. Mahomes or Carr. You can't bench Mahomes. I would still play Saquon over Ingram, but I don't think I would play Saquon over Jeff Wilson. That one's close. It's so close. Saquon versus Jeff Wilson. Saquon versus Jeff Wilson. I feel like Jeff Wilson's going to touch the ball more than Saquon, but Saquon still has a higher ceiling than Jeff Wilson. But you look at the matchups, and Jeff Wilson's up against the Jaguars. I think I like Jeff Wilson and A.J. Dillon both more than Saquon. I feel like I said something different earlier in the stream, but I think I've changed my mind. I hold the right to change my mind. I will not be, if you've been following me for long enough, I refuse to fall into take lock. I will not lock into any of my takes. As new information presents itself, I will also change my opinions. And I think that Saquon Barkley is still a good start this week. I would want to start him in most situations. I'd start Jeff Wilson over him, though. I'd also start A.J. Dillon over him. Jeff Wilson versus DJ Moore. Yeah, Jeff Wilson's safer, but DJ Moore has a higher ceiling. I still think I'd probably go Jeff Wilson over DJ Moore. Picks against the spread. Yeah, I just pulled those up, Kyle, at the bottom of the screen. We dominated with the Pats. That's my one lock this week against the spread, by the way, Thursday night. Love to see that. Baker or Cam. Yeah, you can't start Baker. You can't start Baker Mayfield right now. He's dealing with like 3 different serious injuries with no receivers. Donovan Peoples-Jones out again this week. Jarvis Landry, his top receiver, also dealing with injuries. The Browns are struggling right now. I still think they're going to have a good day. I think that it's going to be mostly a run-heavy day, though. Gallup or Renfro, Mark Ingram or Michael Carter. Yeah, I'd go Gallup over Renfro. And I think I would go Michael Carter over Mark Ingram, too. Again, Mark Ingram's a really tough one for me. He played about 70% of the snaps last week for the Saints. And he has a better matchup this week than he had last week, but Tony Jones is also returning. I would argue that Mark Ingram is a safer play than Michael Carter, but Michael Carter is just a much better player than Mark Ingram with his points in their career. So I'd be fine starting Michael Carter. Mark Ingram also ran by far the most routes he's ran. He had 7 targets last week. And I feel like that's where Tony Jones could eat into his workload. Tony Jones is a pretty good receiver. I think I would lean towards Michael Carter in PPR league. David Montgomery or Mark Ingram, definitely David Montgomery. Pittman or Renfro full PPR. Yeah, I think I'd go Renfro. I don't like Pittman this week. Again, the Bills' number 1 secondary in the NFL this season. $12-man, half PPR. Henderson's on bye. Hines, Eno Benjamin, Ahmed, Tony Jones. Love the app in the live streams. Leaning Hines because I would lean Hines there too. I wouldn't be starting Ahmed or Tony Jones. Thanks for trying out the app, by the way, Philip. I do appreciate it. Guys, if you haven't checked out the WalterPicks app yet in the iOS App Store, you got to check it out. It's going to help you with all your start-sit decisions. We actually have a Black Friday sale going on with the WalterPicks app right now. This is the cheapest you can subscribe to the WalterPicks app all year long. So if you've been on the fence about subscribing to the WalterPicks app, you can lock in your rate, and you'll pay that rate for the rest of time. Get that Black Friday sale. It's like up to 40% off of the WalterPicks subscription right now in the iOS App Store. Elijah Moore or Brandon Ayuk the Bazooka. Yeah, it's got to be Ayuk, man. With Joe Flacco playing, it's got to be Ayuk. I actually think, by the way, this could be a Jamison Elite Crowder week. No defense has been worse against slot receivers than the Dolphins. Hey, Sam, pick 2, Renfro, Waddle, and McLaurin. Yeah, I would go with Waddle and McLaurin over Renfro. Yo, Sam, crazy to see how many viewers you've gained. Thanks, man. Yeah, easy bucket. I appreciate you being around from the start, man. True OG. Who should I start, Jeff Wilson, Michael Carter, or Terry McLaurin? Yeah, I think I would lean towards Jeff Wilson. Again, against the Jaguars, like he's pretty clearly the top running back for the Jaguars. I mean, for the 49ers against the Jaguars. And the Jaguars are a team you want to be playing running backs against. Left a 5-star review. Thanks, man. Bateman or Corey Davis, if Lamar doesn't play, yeah, I'd still go Bateman if Lamar doesn't play over Corey Davis. Like it's Joe Flacco. It's Joe Flacco. You can't feel good about Joe Flacco. I don't know how anyone can feel good about Joe Flacco. He has like a pretty good matchup against the Dolphins, but still, it's Joe Flacco, man. He's been past his prime for like 10 years. Dee Johnson versus Peterson. Love the app, but still can't decide. Yeah. Adrian Peterson feels super, super risky this week. Deontay Foreman has been better than Adrian Peterson. But the number 3 running back is out this week. I don't know why I'm blanking on his name right now. So it's going to be Adrian Peterson and Deontay Foreman. AP could easily score TD. I still think I would go Dearness Johnson, though. I don't know if you're talking about David Johnson or Dearness Johnson. I would play Dearness Johnson over Adrian Peterson. I don't think I'd play David Johnson over him, though. Hey, Sam, I just saw pick 2. Thanks, man. T. Higgins, Rashad Bateman, Darnell Mooney, Zach Moss, Alex Collins. If Lamar plays, I think I'd go Bateman for sure. If he doesn't play, I don't think I would go Bateman in a situation. I would probably go T. Higgins and Alex Collins. If he does play, I'd probably go T. Higgins and Bateman. I traded Jay Jettas and J. Rob for Hollywood, Henderson, DK, and Kittle. Did I win? Only if you really needed a tight end. Otherwise, I think you lost. Yo, he pulled this up but didn't answer. My bad. I do that from time to time. There's a lot of comments. Should I cut Darrell Williams for Jeff Wilson? Yeah, 100%. Cut Darrell Williams instantly. Clyde is back, and Jeff Wilson is a number 1. Really, he's a top 15 running back play this week. Darrell Williams is not. And if so, do I start Gallup or Wilson at the flex? Yeah, you start Wilson. You start Wilson over Gallup. And also Ravens or 49ers defense. Ravens defense versus 49ers defense. The Ravens versus the 49ers. I think I would probably go with the 49ers against the Jaguars. The Ravens get the Bears. They're in Chicago. Yeah, I think I would go with the 49ers. 49ers defense has actually been pretty good. Trade James Conner for DJ Moore. Only if you're already in the fantasy playoffs. DJ Moore, I've been telling people to sell DJ Moore for the past couple of weeks, and I still think he's a must start. Like, I feel pretty conflicted about DJ Moore, if you couldn't tell. Because DJ Moore has seen at least 7 targets in every game this season. There's very few wide receivers you can say that about. And then he's also, we know the talent is there for DJ Moore. DJ Moore is one of the most talented, once the ball's in his hands, he's one of the most talented receivers in the league. And he's seeing consistent volume. And he has really good matchups. He gets the Dolphins and the Falcons over his next couple of games. Maybe the Jaguars are in there too. And then, this week they'll get Washington, who's another bad secondary. But I don't think Cam necessarily helps DJ Moore. Like, I think the Panthers are going to be more run heavy now. So I think if you can get the right package for trading away DJ Moore, you should do it. But James Conner is going to lose value whenever Chase Edmonds returns. So I don't hate the trade if you're already in the playoffs. But James Conner is going to have a few more big games without Chase Edmonds. Jeff Wilson or James Robinson? That one's close, man. I think I would probably go with James Robinson over Jeff Wilson. James Robinson's dealing with an injury, which I think makes it kind of a murky situation. But I think I would go James Robinson over Jeff Wilson. I think it's close. James Robinson has scored 7 touchdowns in his last 7 games. He only had 12 carries last week against the Colts. But he also had 4 catches. He had 84 total yards and a TD. Jeff Wilson versus James Robinson. I would probably go James Robinson. But I won't be surprised if Jeff Wilson outscores him. And I don't think it's like a definite James Robinson answer there. Gibson, Cole Beasley, or Corey Davis. Yeah, I think you probably got to go Gibson over Cole Beasley and Corey Davis. And between Cam and Carr, I would probably lean Cam. I like Derek Carr too. I think Derek Carr's been much, much, much better than I ever expected him to be this season. But the Bengals defense has been pretty good this year. I think I would probably go with with Cam over Derek Carr this week. Love the app. Thanks, man. Sit 1, CD, Debo, AJ Brown, Tyreek. I don't want to sit any of those guys, Vaughn. Why'd you got to do this to me, man? I don't want to sit any of those guys. I don't want to sit CD Lamb. You can't sit CD Lamb. You can't sit Tebow. You can't sit AJ Brown. You can't sit Tyreek. If you're going to sit one of those guys, I feel like it can't be Tyreek or CD Lamb. Let me pull up my top 10 rankings here for the wide receivers. Let's see who my top 10 rankings would say to sit. I think CD Lamb's not even in my top 10, but I don't feel good about that. I guess CD Lamb. I guess CD Lamb. I guess it's CD Lamb. I don't feel good about sitting CD Lamb, but I guess that's who I would bench in that situation. Yo, Sam, standard league. Bateman, Gallup, or McLaurin. Who has the most boom? Who should I start? Then Komet or Uzma. Love the app, by the way. Thanks, Max. Yeah, I think the most boom is Gallup. If Lamar plays, though, I think I would probably go with Bateman. And then who should you start between Komet and Uzoma? Yeah, it's got to be Komet. There's no Allen Robinson this week. Allen Robinson's out. I think that boosts Darnell Mooney and Komet just a little bit, even though the Bears are one of the most run-heavy teams in the league. Mark Ingram or Jeff Wilson? Yeah, it's Jeff Wilson over Mark Ingram for me pretty easily. Lamar at the game. Hey, Sam, love the content. J.D. McKissick or Rashad Higgins with DPJ out and Anthony Schwartz out. Yeah. Rashard Higgins is the only healthy receiver for the Browns that I'm interested in this week. I think he's a pretty good deep play against the Lions, too. I don't hate it. I think I would go Higgins, honestly, over J.D. McKissick this week. Lamar, I wanted to read this one from Holden. Lamar's at the game, but, quote, not looking like himself. He's keeping hydrated, and he's going to try to play. This is a report that you're quoting, I'm assuming, and Holden usually actually breaks a lot of these news reports in the live streams for us. Let me just refresh here to see if there's something I missed on the live. Probably should pull up Twitter because that's usually where it comes first. But we will be updating about Lamar because Lamar, that's really the biggest injury news to track right now. I would be playing Saquon over Mark Ingram. And if you're sitting Ingram, do a trade in for T. Higgins. Omar, I don't hate it. I don't hate that at all. I would just play Saquon and then go trade Mark Ingram. I don't hate that at all, man. Hey, Sam, love the content. J.D. McKissick or Rashad? Yeah, I think I just answered that one. Sorry. I think I would go for Rashard Higgins. Pick one. Since Murray is out, Kyler is out. Yeah, Newton, Jimmy G, Simeon. Oh, God. Or Big Ben. Yeah, it's got to be Cam, man. It's got to be Cam. It's got to be Cam over those options. I think I would start Tua over Cam in a head-to-head league. I am starting Tua over Cam in a couple leagues. But if Tua is not an option here, then I would start Cam. Yo, Sam, championship basically between me and one other team. All right, that's good. Whose running backs do you like more, Swift, Mixon, Kamara, or Henderson, Montgomery, Eckler? Yeah, I mean, with Kamara out, it's the other. It's got to be Henderson, Montgomery, Eckler. But if Kamara's back, it's definitely the Kamara side. All right, let me pull up my picks against the spread again on the YouTube live. Again, we're live on YouTube and TikTok. Guys, if you're watching live on YouTube, hit the like button, hit that subscribe button. I do appreciate it. I got my Draftkings lineup pulled up on the YouTube live as well. Let's see if there's any recent reports coming out. So this report, Holden was right, from Ian Rappaport. QB Lamar Jackson is arriving to the stadium soon, but sounds like he's really not himself. Jackson will try to go, and they're working to keep him hydrated to play, but he has been hit very hard by this virus. It's not the coronavirus, apparently some other virus. Tyler Snoop Huntley is the backup. So some sort of Lamar flu game today if Lamar plays, but it sounds like Lamar is not going to be at 100%. QB Lamar Jackson is a truly 50-50 chance to play, but even if he plays, it sounds like he's not at 100%. So I think you got to downgrade Rashad Bateman, and I think you got to downgrade Lamar as well. Start Wilson Jr., Bateman, or Gibson. Yeah, it's got to be Wilson Jr. Will Cam play the whole game? No, it sounds like he won't. It sounds like P.J. Walker is going to be involved to some capacity. It sounds basically like the Panthers are scared about Cam's throwing abilities, which as a Patriots fan, I can understand. I think that the Panthers are going to be very, very run heavy today on first and second down with Cam Newton. And on third downs, if it's a third and long, we could see PJ Walker come into the game. That's what I'm expecting, which does add a layer of risk for Cam in fantasy. Definitely does. But rushing is more important than passing for quarterbacks in fantasy. One rushing yard is twice as valuable as one passing yard, over twice as valuable. So I still think Cam's a fine start in fantasy. But yeah, PJ Walker is probably going to be on the field at times. I think Cam's probably going to play like 75% or more of the snaps, though. I like Tua a little bit more than Cam for that reason. That's why I'm starting Tua in my DraftKings lineup. Do I start Jeff Wilson or Mark Ingram? Yeah, I would start Jeff Wilson over Mark Ingram. I'd start Tua over Cam, but it's close, and I think Cam has a higher ceiling. Renfro or Wilson Jr. at flex. Got to be Jeff Wilson. Guys, Jeff Wilson's a really good start this week against the Jaguars. There's no Elijah Mitchell. He's the clear starting running back for the 49ers. He's a good start. Yeah, I think you got to be nervous about Rashad Bateman, guys. I think you got to be nervous about Rashad Bateman this week. Jaguars running back James Robinson officially active today. Elijah Mitchell officially inactive. Gronk or Schultz? I don't like starting Gronk. I don't like starting Gronk this week. I don't. I'm not a big fan of Gronk this week. He's playing tomorrow night against the Giants. There's no Antonio Brown, which is good news. Like, he could easily score a TD. But I've said this from the very start since Gronk has gone out. It just makes too much sense for the Buccaneers to bring Gronk back slowly. Like, he's been out for a while. He's had all sorts of injuries throughout his career. And they need Gronk in the playoffs. And they have two other good tight ends in Cameron Brate and O.J. Howard. So I feel like Gronk is really, really risky. Not that all tight ends aren't. Do I start Miles Sanders? No, don't start Miles Sanders. Mike Williams or Jalen Waddle today? It's got to be Waddle, man. It's got to be Waddle. No wide receiver has run more routes than Jalen Waddle this season. And any betting locks? My only lock against the spread this week was the Patriots, -7 versus the Falcons. So hopefully you tuned into the Thursday Night Live for that. There were so many people picking the Falcons. It was astonishing. It was astonishing how many people were picking the Falcons. The Falcons were less talented at literally every single position, except for maybe quarterback. But I have no other locks. Honestly, I'm picking a lot of favorites this week. I feel nervous about picking so many favorites. Again, picking against the spread's hard. I can't believe I've been 55% against the spread. I would have expected it to be 50%. And in full transparency, I don't actually risk any significant amount of money on spreads because they're so hard to beat. But I do on player props, and there's 7 player props in the WalterPicks app that I absolutely love today. And I'm going to give one of them away for free when we get to 250 likes on the YouTube live stream. So hit the like button if you're watching live on YouTube. And I think we're almost there. Sit one, Gaskin, Carter, or Jeff Wilson? Yeah, I think it's Gaskin. I think it's Gaskin. Gaskin versus Michael Carter is super tough for me. Walter likes Gaskin a lot more than Michael Carter this week. I like Michael Carter just a little bit more than Gaskin. Guys, we're almost at 200 likes. Smash the like button. We're so close to 250. Everyone hits the like button. We got that free prop pick. Jeff Wilson or Bateman? Yeah, it's Jeff Wilson for sure. Lamar, even if Lamar plays, guys, Lamar's not 100%. Danny Dimes or Heineke? Yeah, I'd probably go Danny Dimes over Heineke. But I would go see if Tua is available also, Kiara, because Tua is better than Danny Dimes and Heineke this week, in my opinion. Thoughts on Deshaun Jackson? Yeah, he had that one long catch, which he fumbled. He looked like totally disoriented on that play. But I still think Deshaun could fill in the Henry Ruggs role pretty well. Kirk or Gallup? Yeah, I'd go Gallup for sure. You think Lamar's playing? Yeah, so it sounds like Lamar is going to play. That has not been officially confirmed. But all reports right now are saying it's pretty much 50-50. And that he's not even going to be 100%. Jackson's currently a game time decision. And even if he plays, there's a concern of whether he can play the entire game. And this is, I think, actually a pretty big deal for Lamar, the virus that he's dealing with. Again, it's not COVID that he's dealing with, but it sounds like it's a pretty significant illness. And a guy like Lamar who runs as much as he does, I think this could have a pretty big impact. So, yeah, I think you got to be nervous about Lamar this week. And I think you should probably be making a backup plan for fantasy, for Rashad Bateman and for Lamar Jackson. Do I start Herbert or Tua? Yeah, you got to start Herbert over Tua. Russell Wilson or Jimmy G? It's probably Russ. I don't love Jimmy G. Please answer. Connor, Robinson, or Carter? Yeah, I would rank them in that order, I think, this week. Connor, then Robinson, then Carter. Connor, then Robinson, then Carter. Yeah. Jeff Wilson or Monty? Yeah, Gabe, this one's really close for me. I like David Montgomery a lot this week. I think David Montgomery is one of the safest plays in fantasy. Like, he's locked in to 15-plus carries. He had 85% of the snaps for the Bears in his first game back from, like, pretty significant injury absence. And now he's coming off a bye. He's probably going to play 90% or more of the snaps this week for the Bears, which honestly was surprising, too, with how good Khalil Herbert did in his absence. That he came back and instantly saw a workhorse role. And David Montgomery's up against the Ravens today. The Ravens have actually had a pretty good run defense. They've been average. They rank 11th worst against running backs. But then you have Jeff Wilson, who's up against the Houston Texans. They rank 12th worst against running backs, and they're favored in that game by 6 points. I think it should be more than that. Honestly, if there's any spread I like the most, it's probably the 49ers against the Texans. I mean, against the Jaguars, excuse me. They ranked 14th worst against running backs. Meanwhile, the Bears are underdogs against the Ravens. So Lamar might not play the whole game, though, which makes that game probably – the spread's probably gotten closer since the stream started. With Lamar, like, they're saying Lamar is 50-50 to play. I think Lamar's going to play, but it sounds like he might not even be able to play the whole game, and he's not going to be able to run like he normally runs because he's really sick. Like, he has a pretty serious illness right now. This is like basically his version of the Michael Jordan flu game today, except it's not in the playoffs and he's not Michael Jordan. But I'm nervous about Lamar. I'm nervous about Lamar today. But regardless, Jeff Wilson versus David Montgomery, I think is a really, really, really close. I personally lean towards Jeff Wilson just a little bit. But I think David Montgomery is a little safer, if that makes sense. And the thing about the Bears, too, is even if they're getting crushed, the Bears could be down 21 points. They're still going to run the ball. They've run the ball at a higher rate than every other team in the league. No team has run a higher percentage of rush plays than the Chicago Bears. Fields or Jimmy G? I think I would probably go with Fields. Cam Newton over Russell Wilson for me today. Browns defense versus the Lions or the Dolphins defense versus the Jets? The Browns defense is better. It's better than the Dolphins defense. Just like if you ignore the matchups for a second, the Browns defense is better than the Dolphins defense. But we got Joe Flacco. We got Joe Flacco starting for the Jets. Like, I honestly feel like it's the Dolphins. And I know we have a first-time starter for the Lions, too. So that means we're going to get to see Tim Boyle. Tim Boyle was good in the preseason, by the way. Very good. He got hurt in the preseason, but he was good in the preseason. I honestly don't think it's like that crazy to say Tim Boyle's better than Joe Flacco. So I think both Julian are good options, but I would lean towards the Dolphins. Terry McLaurin or Jeff Wilson Jr. at flex. Yeah, it's got to be Jeff. Same projection. Wow, yeah. I lean towards Jeff Wilson too. I lean towards running backs over receivers when I'm deciding between the two, because running backs almost always have the safer floor because their touches are just more locked in, right? Like carries, you're getting the ball. In targets, you're not always getting the ball. So I think generally speaking, my opinion on this is that receivers have higher upside and running backs always have a safer floor. You like Foreman against the Texans? Yeah, I don't hate him. I don't hate Deontay Foreman this week. I feel like I haven't seen that many questions about Deontay Foreman. I was expecting more questions about Deontay Foreman. But yeah, D'Onta Foreman's like kind of clearly the top running back for the Titans. And he's played the best of all the running backs for the Titans too. And then you add in the fact that Jeremy McNichols is out this week. So it's really just Adrian Peterson and Foreman. And then they're playing the Texans. Guys, revenge game. This is a hashtag revenge game for D'Onta Foreman, who was on the Texans for a while. I think that's where he was drafted. D'Onta Foreman, he played 36% of the snaps last week. He saw 11 carries. He had a total of 78 yards. He had 2 catches too. No touchdowns, though, for D'Onta Foreman. Adrian Peterson, on the other hand, has been a lot less efficient with his touches than D'Onta Foreman has. I don't hate D'Onta Foreman at all this week. I think he's a running back 3 with running back 1 upside this week. We know the Titans want to run the ball. Adrian Peterson played less snaps than D'Onta Foreman last week. He had less carries than D'Onta Foreman. He had less catches. And he hasn't had over 27 yards in a game yet since he joined the team. In these 2 games, he's got under 30 yards both games. He's had at least 9 touches, but under 30 yards. He's averaging, I think, under 3 yards a touch. Pretty bad. So, yeah, I think D'Onta Foreman's pretty clearly the top guy. I don't hate him at all. Can Saquon be trusted in a must-win week? Yeah, I think he can. I think he can be trusted. Ingram versus Saquon, Gaskin, Wilson Jr. need 3. Yeah, this is going to be a tough call for Saquon Barkley. People with Saquon Barkley on their teams. I would definitely go with Jeff Wilson of all these guys. I think Mark Ingram's not horrible too against the Eagles' pretty bad run defense. But you got to be starting Saquon over Gaskin, man. You got to be starting Saquon over Gaskin. DJ Moore, Jeff Wilson. Yeah, I would lean towards DJ Moore over Jeff Wilson. I think Jeff Wilson's safer, but I like DJ Moore ceiling a lot. The Washington secondary has been really bad. Guys, if you're watching live on YouTube, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We are very close to We're very close to 150 likes. Smash the like button. Smash the subscribe button if you're watching live on YouTube. If you're watching live on TikTok, guys, the link is in the bio to the YouTube live. We got a whole nother hour and a half of the live stream. We're just getting started, man. We're just getting started. We're well on our way to 250 likes on the YouTube live. At that point, we got a free prop pick for you. Cam Newton or Tua? Yeah, that's the question of the day, man. Tua versus Tannehill. I'd go Tua over Tannehill. I'm going Tua over Cam this week too. Tua has done well. He's done well in his 4 games. From fantasy football perspective, he's gotten over 15 points in all 4 of those games. 2 of them were against top 10 defenses, the Patriots and the Bills. And the 2 games he's played against bottom 10 defenses, against the Jaguars and the Falcons. He went over 22 points in both those games, and he gets a bottom 10 defense today in the Jets. So, yeah, I like Tua. Cam gets an even better matchup than Tua, though. Washington, no defense has been worse against quarterbacks than Washington. They just lost Chase Young, too, for the season. Yeah, you got to go James Conner over Saquon. You got to go James Conner over Saquon. I don't think that you should be struggling with that one. Waddle or Pittman? It's got to be Waddle, man. It's got to be Waddle over Pittman today. Hurts or Cam? Yeah, I do have Cam Newton ranked 1 spot ahead of Jalen Hurts in my rankings this week. If you come to the YouTube live, you can see my top 10 rankings, every single position. And I have Cam Newton ranked ahead of Tua as well, because if Cam Newton plays the whole game, Cam Newton undoubtedly has one of the best matchups, if not the best matchup of the week. The Washington has been horrible against quarterbacks. And he's got really good rushing floor too. And the Saints defense has been good. So I don't think you're crazy to start Cam over Jalen, but I still think Jalen's a little bit safer than Cam. Cam has this added layer of risk this week because he might not play on 3rd downs. He basically could be used as a running back where he plays 1st and 2nd down. And since he can't throw, or he's not very good at throwing, PJ Walker comes in. But the vast majority of quarterbacks against the Washington football team have gone over 20 points. Daniel Jones did it. Josh Allen did it. Matt Ryan did it. Jameis Winston did it. Patrick Mahomes did it. Aaron Rodgers did it. Tom Brady failed to do it last week, but he still had 18 points. The floor is just really high, I think, for any quarterback up against the Washington football team, especially now that Chase Young is out. They held Brady. Yeah, they did. They did hold Brady. That game was really surprising. But this is a much different offense than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think that the Panthers offense can still have a lot of success today. Sanders or Barkley? Yeah, it's got to be Barkley over Sanders. Bills D or Titans defense? I think you probably go with the Buffalo Bills defense against the Colts. The Bills have just been the best defense in the league. Jeff Wilson or Rashad Bateman? Yeah, it's got to be Jeff Wilson. Lamar's not at 100% today. Do I start Lockett, Ayuk, or Pittman? Yeah, I think I'm fading Pittman pretty hard today. The Bills secondary has been really, really good. No defense has been better against receivers than the Buffalo Bills. Actually, I lied. Only one. The Chargers have been better. The Bills have been the second best defense against wide receivers. I think you got to be very concerned about Michael Pittman this week. Cam or Jones? Yeah, I'd go Cam over Jones. Hey, Sam, love the app. Thanks, man. Yeah, guys, if you haven't checked out the WalterPicks app yet, the link is in the YouTube description. The link is in the TikTok bio. Completely free to download. You get a completely free 7-day trial with any of the premium portions of the app. And we got a Black Friday sale going on right now. So it's also the cheapest you could possibly get the app ever. All year round, this is the cheapest you could get it for the Black Friday sale. It's going to help you dominate start decisions, dominate your trades, dominate Draftkings and FanDuel, dominate. It's going to help you with everything football and fantasy football related. Love the app. Hawkinson, Schultz, or Muth. Yeah, it's got to be Hawk, man. I like Dalton Schultz too. Actually, you might have Dalton Schultz ranked one spot ahead of TJ Hawkinson this week. Yeah, I do. So I think it's fine to go Schultz over Hawkinson. But the only 6 tight ends I'm playing over Hawkinson this week is Travis Kelce, Darren Waller, George Kittle, Mark Andrews, Mike Gesicki, and Dalton Schultz. End of list. So I think you can start Schultz over Hawkinson. With Amari Cooper out in what should be a pretty high-scoring game, I think Schultz has a pretty good chance at the TD. But I think even without Jared Goff playing, you got to go with TJ Hawkinson in most situations still. I know he scored 0 points last week, but you still got to trot him out there with some confidence. There's so few options for the Lions that Hawkinson's still a top 7 tight end. Yarjmo, what's going on, man? Sam, I'm in the dumpsters with bye and injuries. Pick 2. Hawkinson, Muth, or Goddard. Yeah, it's Hawk, man. It's got to be Hawk, Yarjmo. I get it. Hawkinson's coming off a 0-point game. I think he had 1 target, too. Like, it wasn't just like Gesicki had a 0-point game, but he had 7 targets at least. So at least you could feel like, okay, that at least he had the targets. But Hawkinson didn't even have the targets. And I still think both guys should be started this week. He had at least 6 targets in the 3 games before that. And he played he had a season high 95% snap share. So he only had 1 target, but he played more than he played the entire season. And also that 1 target he had, but it was not like a good target. He got the target. It was behind the line of scrimmage. TJ Hawkinson had -2 air yards last week against the Steelers. But yeah, you got to be trotting out Hawk still this week. I think you got to be playing Hawkinson. The 49ers have been – sorry, not the 49ers. The Browns. They've been pretty average against tight ends. They're ranked 19th against tight ends. Hunter Henry scored against them last time they played. Do I start Adrian Peterson or Darrell Williams? Yeah, I'd probably go with Darrell Williams, even with Clyde back. I don't know how we can trust AP. He hasn't even had 30 yards in a single game yet. And Deontay Foreman looks pretty clearly better than him. Gave the app a 5-star review. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, 5-star reviews help us out a ton. Way more than you could possibly realize in the iOS App Store. Coming to Android soon as well. Foreman or Gallup for flex full PPR. Yeah, Gallup has a much higher ceiling than Foreman. It is a hashtag revenge game, though, for Foreman against the Texans. And really, like, about as good of a situation for Foreman as he could have possibly hoped in this revenge game. But I still think I would play Gallup over Foreman. Robbie Anderson over 32.5 yards looks so good. Yeah, I don't hate that at all. I don't hate either Robbie Anderson or DJ Moore's prop this week. I think both of them are like the lowest we've seen all season. And I still think they're going to throw the ball. They're going to be really run heavy, which is why they're so low. But yeah, Robbie Anderson looked like he had some sort of a connection with Cam. So I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all. Hey, Sam Kittle, Jeff Wilson, or Foreman. Yeah, it's got to be Jeff Wilson. I got multiple questions for you, Sammy. Tyler Lockett, Ayuk, Beasley, Jarvis, Gallup, PPR. Yeah, you got to go Gallup. You got to go Gallup. Overall, everyone else in that question. Cooks or Deontay Johnson? Yeah, I think I would lean towards Brandon Cooks this week against the Titans. Deontay Johnson is the clear top receiver for the Steelers. But I'm kind of nervous against the Chargers. No team has allowed fewer fantasy points per game to receivers than the Chargers. Cam or Dak? Yeah, don't bench Dak. Don't bench Dak. I think you can strongly consider benching Lamar with his injury. Like you can consider benching Lamar, but I don't think you should be benching Dak. Hey, love the app. Can you pick 2? Swift, Montgomery, Fournette, Gaskin, non-PPR. Yeah, it's the first 2. It's got to be the first 2. Swift and Montgomery, or Swift and Fournette. Honestly, I'd probably go Swift and Fournette. In a non-PPR league, probably Swift and Fournette. Waddle or Deontay this week? Yeah, I would not think it's that crazy to say Waddle over Deontay Johnson this week. I think this could be Waddle's first game over 100 yards against the Jets. No receiver. LOL, do I even start Lamar? No, I don't. I don't think Lamar is that safe. Watkins or Tony? Yeah, I'd probably go Tony over Watkins. Hey, math man. I don't think I've been called that one before. Waddle, Gallup, Thielen, Moore, or Pittman, non-PPR. Pick 2, please. And Gibson, Gaskin, or CEH, pick 2. Yeah, I think you got to bench CEH for sure. And for the receivers, I'd probably go with DJ Moore and Jalen Waddle. Jeff Wilson or Deontay Johnson? I'd probably go Jeff Wilson over Deontay Johnson as well. Cole Kmet or Hawk or Zoma at tight end? Yeah, I would go Hawkinson. Like, I think you got to play Hawkinson, guys. I know he had 1 target, 0 catches last week, but he had at least 6 targets in each of the 3 games before that. There's just no receivers for the Lions. Tim Boyle starting for the Lions today. Like, there's a chance that Tim Boyle is an upgrade over Jared Goff. Beasley or Mooney? Yeah, I think I would probably go Mooney over Beasley. Beasley's been really inconsistent recently. I think he's dealing with an injury. There's no Allen Robinson too, and the Ravens secondary hasn't been that great against receivers this season. So I would probably bench Beasley. Yeah, Beasley had 2 catches last game, 2 targets. He played a season low 15% of the snaps. Chris Godwin is a must-start player, guys. You got to start Chris Godwin. There's no Antonio Brown. Mike Evans continues to be this like low-volume deep threat for the Buccaneers. You got to start Chris Godwin with a ton of confidence. Deontay Harris or Sammy Watkins? It's probably Deontay Harris. I don't feel good about Sammy Watkins at all. Carter or Mike Williams? Yeah, Carter's safer than Mike Williams. It's not particularly close, but Mike Williams still arguably has the higher ceiling. So I'd still probably go Carter, but if you're shooting for the moon and you feel like you need a big upside play, then it's Mike Williams. Gallup, McLaurin, or Locket, pick 2. Yeah, I'd probably go the first 2. Do I start Renfro or Waddle? I also have Waller in my lineup. Yeah, go Waddle, man. I think Waddle's just a better play than Renfro, period. Waddle's a really good play today. Foreman or Jeff Wilson? Yeah, it's Jeff Wilson. Burrow or Tua? I'd go Tua over Joe Burrow this week. Barkley or Montgomery? I'd probably go David Montgomery over Barkley. Yo, Sam, Muth or Goddard? Muth versus Goddard. Goddard just got signed to a big extension, and I think Goddard has been one of my favorite buy low tight ends for quite some time, really since the Zach Ertz trade. Goddard has not had this big game that I think he can have. The Eagles have a pretty tough matchup against the Saints today. The Saints have been pretty good, top 10 in the league against tight ends. But Dallas Goedert's target share has really taken a huge leap since the Zach Ertz trade. He just hasn't scored any touchdowns. The last time he scored a touchdown was week 4. And I think he was injured last week. He barely played. He ran 7 total routes last week. So, I don't hate Goddard, but I think I would probably go Muth. I still think Goddard's a pretty good buy low tight end, though. Should I start Darrell Williams or David Montgomery? Yeah, got to be David Montgomery. Cam or Hurts? Yeah, I like Cam a tiny bit more than Hurts, but he definitely is a little riskier. He's riskier because PJ Walker is going to be involved at some level. So he is riskier. Kyler or Hurts? Kyler Murray is not playing. He's not playing today. Again. So, yeah, not Kyler. Definitely not Kyler. let's refresh the news here. Let's make sure there's not any news to update on. Start Rodgers or Hurts. Yeah, I'd go Rodgers over Hurts. So it sounds like Lamar Jackson will try to play through his illness today, but he apparently isn't looking like himself. Another update on some inactives. It sounds like Kenneth Gainwell for the Eagles is going to be inactive today. So it's going to be Miles Sanders, Jordan Howard, Boston Scott over Kenneth Gainwell today for the Eagles. Miles Sanders is going to have a role in this offense this week. But I still think Jordan Howard and Boston Scott will have a role too, which is why I think you can't really trust Miles Sanders right away. Do you think Jeff Wilson will get any running back, any running TDs, or will Tebow take them? Yeah, I think Jeff Wilson will score a rushing touchdown today. I would start Jeff Wilson over Darrell Williams 100%. Get the app. You're going to make a profit in the first week with the player props. Thanks, Sam and the crew. Ryan, thanks, man. I appreciate the testimonial, man. Saquon or Gaskin? Yeah, I would lean towards Saquon over Gaskin this week. Again, I don't know what it is, but our artificially intelligent algorithm, Walter, that powers the WalterPicks app, loves Gaskin this week. But I think we draw the line for Saquon like right around Myles Gaskin. I just can't get myself to start a guy like Myles Gaskin over a guy like Saquon Barkley. Carter or Ingram? Another close one for me. I would lean towards Mark Ingram over Michael Carter. Mark Ingram or Jeff Wilson or Saquon pick 2 PPR. Also, apparently someone took Gallup, so Lockett, Ayuk, Landry, or Beasley. Yeah, I'd go for the receivers. I'd probably rank them in that order. For the running backs, I think I would go with Jeff Wilson, definitely. And then for Mark Ingram versus Saquon, like I would probably lean towards Saquon over Mark Ingram. Good morning, Sam. I was wondering if I should start Seattle's D or Eagles D and also Cam or Lamar. Yeah, I'm nervous about Lamar, guys. He's playing through an injury really today. He's pretty sick. Like he's dealing with some sort of flu-like virus. It's not COVID, but he's sick. And it sounds like he hasn't been fully himself. He might not be able to run as much as he normally does. But I like the Eagles defense more than the Seahawks defense today. The Cardinals offense we've seen have some success, even with Colt McCoy, even though they struggled big time against the Panthers last week. Draftkings lineup is up on the YouTube Live right now. Link is in the TikTok bio to come to the YouTube Live. Guys, if you're watching live on YouTube, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, man. We are getting closer and closer to the 250 likes. We're about to hit 150. Smash the like button. I do appreciate it. Helps us out a ton. Pull my favorite picks against the spread on the YouTube Live as well. Knox or Goddard? Yeah, I would go Knox over Goddard. Bateman or Waddle? It's Waddle. Is Cam startable? Yeah, he is startable. He's startable. Washington has allowed the most fantasy points per game to quarterbacks this season. Brady had a bad game against Washington last week, but he still scored 18 points. Like, that's a bad game against this defense. It's 18 points. Cam or Kirk? Yeah, I'd go Cam over Kirk. I would go Cam over Kirk this week. By the way, our DraftKings lineup last week absolutely smashed. I played that lineup in a lot of different tournaments and cash in all of them. We had Dak Prescott stacked with CeeDee Lamb. Like, we just dominated. And this week I'm stacking Tua with Jalen Waddle. I think you got to like the Tua Jalen Waddle stack. We're playing the Jets. They're getting the Jets this week. Oh God, is this true? Peter. Don't mess with me, Peter. Because I'm not seeing this. I'm not seeing this, Peter, on my Twitter feed. It sounds like Lamar is playing, or is like 50-50 to play. But it sounds like he's not at 100%. So he might play, but not play as much as he normally does, or not to the level that he normally does. But it still sounds like he might play. Lamar or so I think you should probably bench Lamar. Should probably bench Lamar even if he plays. Tua or Tannehill? Yeah, I'd go Tua. Love the app. Help me win multiple weeks. That's what I'm talking about, man. DJ Moore or Michael Carter? Yeah, I'd go DJ Moore over Michael Carter. I think Carter's safer, but I like DJ Moore's ceiling this week. Renfro, Gallup, or Ayuk? Already have Dak and Zeke, and then Ingram or Jacobs. Yeah, I would probably go Gallup over Renfro and Ayuk the Bazooka this week. And I for Ingram or Jacobs, I would probably lean Jacobs over Ingram. DK or AJ Brown? Guys, don't bench AJ Brown this week. I'm telling you. Do not bench AJ Brown. I got AJ Brown in all of my lineups on DraftKings this week and FanDuel. Against the Texans, this is the bounce back game for AJ Brown. There's no one on the Texans that can stop AJ Brown. Ingram, Wilson, or Wilson Jr. Yeah, I'd go Wilson over Ingram. Waddle or Moore? This one's tough for me. I like DJ Moore, I think, a little bit more than Jalen Waddle. But I think Jalen Waddle's floor is just really safe. But DJ Moore's ceiling to me is higher. The only concern about DJ Moore this week is how run heavy are the Panthers going to be, especially if they get a lead in this game. Like, we could see the Panthers significantly more run heavy than usual. But I still think DJ Moore is going to see targets. Like, he's had at least 7 targets in every game this season. Cam or Burrow? Yeah, I like Cam more than Burrow. Beasley or Clyde? Yeah, you can't start Clyde, guys. You can't start Clyde. Clyde wasn't good before the injury. So why are we feeling good about Clyde after the injury? Darrell Williams did better than Clyde in his time as the starter. Wilson or Carr? Yeah, I'm leaning towards Carr over Wilson. I'm seeing more comments saying that Lamar is out. But I'm not seeing any actual news reports that Lamar is out. It sounds like Lamar's dealing with an illness. He's 50-50 to play. It actually sounds like he's trending towards playing, but he's not going to be at 100%, and he might not play the whole game. But the last I heard, he's from Ian Rappaport, he will try to play through the illness he's dealing with. Lamar not doing well enough to play. All right, so I'm seeing so many comments now that we're gonna pause the. Oh wow, yeah, here it is. I'm told Lamar Jackson, quote, not doing well enough to play, per league source. Comments, man, the comments are almost always right. Y'all hate on Lamar. No, we're not hating on Lamar. Lamar Jackson is the greatest rushing quarterback of all time. And I will not be convinced otherwise. He's the only quarterback ever to have back-to-back seasons with over 1,000 rushing yards, and this is going to be his third consecutive season now. He's the best rushing quarterback we've ever seen, and he's improved significantly as a passer too. And what people don't realize about Lamar this season too is he's been so much more aggressive than he has been in previous seasons passing down the field. The second most aggressive passer really this season in adjusted yards per attempt is Lamar Jackson. I'm rooting for Lamar big time. I'm a huge Lamar fan. I think he is hated on too much. And I hope he can turn the playoff narrative around. But the comments were right. The comments were somehow ahead of Twitter for me. And it looks like Lamar's actually not going to play. Looks like he's not going to play. We have a league source saying he's not doing well enough to play. He might be active, but like maybe in only like he might be active, but it might be in kind of an emergency situation. We've seen that before in the NFL. We saw it with Tua a couple weeks ago. So, guys, Lamar Jackson looking like he's out this week, and it's going to be Tyler Huntley's moment to start for the Baltimore Ravens. And I think, yes, this is a downgrade for Rashad Bateman. This is definitely a downgrade for Rashad Bateman. I think it's pretty clearly a downgrade for Sammy Watkins, really for the entire Ravens team. And honestly, if anything, it's an upgrade for David Montgomery in a closer game, man. In a closer game, David Montgomery could see even more carries. By the way, love your app, Connor or Robinson. Thanks, Tyler. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, I'd go Connor. I don't think you can be benching James Conner this week. Guys, we're live on YouTube and TikTok right now. The link to the YouTube live is in the TikTok bio. And you can see my top 10 rankings for every position on the YouTube live and my favorite picks against the spread. But this just in. It looks, and this has not been officially confirmed yet, but it looks like Lamar Jackson is not going to play today. Chubb or Connor? Yeah, it's got to be Chubb. Don't bench Chubb. Do not bench Nick Chubb. Whatever you do, don't bench Nick Chubb. Sorry about this TikTok live. Don't bench Nick Chubb. You can't bench him. All right. Bateman or Gallup? Yeah, now it's pretty obviously Gallup. It's pretty obviously Gallup over Bateman. Tyler Huntley or Joe Flacco? Huntley versus Flacco, man. This is a deep one. I think I would lean towards Huntley over Flacco. I don't trust Flacco at all. I don't think there's a single player I trust less than Joe Flacco this week. Flacco, I see in the TikTok chat. Yeah, Flacco, man. Wacko for Flacco is not a guy that I'm trusting. Hey, Sam, can't wait for the app to drop on Android. Yeah, check it out, Chris. We got the Android, man. We got the Android, Chris. The Android is coming. It's coming, man. Next couple of weeks. We're like 2 weeks away. I'm really, really hoping we can get it out for everyone on Android before the fantasy football playoffs start. All right, question. Darrell Williams or Mooney or Higgins? Thanks for the help. Yeah, I think you go Higgins, man. I think you go Higgins pretty easily. Huntley or Big Ben? Yeah, I think you go with Big Ben over Huntley. I'm rooting for Huntley though, man. What's your FanDuel lineup? Yeah, I didn't make a FanDuel lineup Landon this week. I typically skew more towards DraftKings. I can pull up the DraftKings lineup though. I know the pricing is different, and we actually do have FanDuel favorites in the WalterPicks app as well, so you can check those out. You can actually get one free favorite for every single position in the WalterPicks app too every week. So even if you're not a premium subscriber, you go to our FanDuel favorites in the WalterPicks app, and boom, you got one really good play for every position for free. But this is my DraftKings lineup pulled up on the YouTube live right now. Lamar is officially out. He's officially out. I actually don't think it's like officially official. Oh, no, it is officially official. Guys, the comment section is in these live streams is always like 5 minutes ahead of I think we have like legit NFL insider sources in the comment section during these lives, because literally 10 minutes ago people were like, yeah, Lamar's officially out. And now 10 minutes later, Ian Rappaport, Lamar Jackson is out today with an illness. Tyler Huntley slated to get the start, and you know who's behind Tyler Huntley, guys. If you're watching live on TikTok. Bring us back to the good old days of Trace McSorley. We could see McSorley get some action today. So Lamar's out. Man, that's a tough break. No Kyler Murray this week. No Lamar Jackson this week. Who is going to be the NFL MVP? That's my question. Because Kyler Murray had a lead, and he's really lost the lead. Gallup or Evans? Yeah, I think you still got to go Evans over Gallup. Jeff Wilson or James Robinson, and Carr or Tua. Yeah, I like Tua more than Carr, and I think I'd like James Robinson a little bit more than Jeff Wilson. But it is close. Brandon Cooks or Saquon at flex. Yeah, I just go Cooks. Cam Newton or Tannehill. Guys, with all the quarterback injuries this week, no Lamar Jackson, no Kyler Murray. I think you go with Tua, and I think you go with Cam. I think Cam Newton and Tua are by far the best streamers this week, and both guys are still available in the vast majority of leagues. It's football Sunday, Ty. That's what I'm talking about, man. Can't wait for some football on our TV screens in just a few minutes. Really, we got like an hour left of the stream. We're in the final hour. This is the witching hour of the Sunday morning WalterPicks live streams, where Sam gets very excited and tries to answer as many comments as he possibly can. All right, so do you play Tua, Carr, or Cousins? Also, with Cooper out, do I play Smith, Claypool, or Bateman? But with the Lamar news, yeah, guys, with the Lamar news, you can't be playing Bateman. Guys, we're live on TikTok and YouTube, by the way, right now. Come to the YouTube live. You get a little bit more info. Top 10 rankings, every single position, DraftKings lineup, favorite picks against the spread, all in the YouTube live, completely free. Just the link is in the TikTok bio. And I can pull up comments a little bit easier too, but I will answer comments on both. Thanks for the gifts on the TikTok live. I do appreciate that. But yeah, I think you go Tua over Carr and over Cousins. And with no Amari Cooper, I don't think you can we really trust Chase Claypool against the Chargers? Like, this is a really bad matchup for Claypool. You can't trust Bateman, so I guess you go with Smith. I think you kind of talk yourself. I talk myself into Smith here. Jacobs or Wilson Jr. Yeah, I like Jeff Wilson more than Jacobs this week. Guys, if you're watching live on YouTube, hit the like button. We're less than 100 likes away from 250, at which point I got a free prop pick for us that I like a lot today. It's actually a guy that we haven't talked that much about on the stream. No Lamar. Baker or Huntley. Yeah, do not start Baker Mayfield. He's dealing with all sorts of injuries. There's no Donovan Peoples-Jones this week. They're also without their rookie wide receiver. I'm blanking on his name right now. So Rashad Higgins and Jarvis Landry are the top two receivers for the Browns today. And I think the Browns are just going to run and run and run and run with Dearness Johnson and Nick Chubb. So I don't think you can trust Baker. I don't want to trust Huntley either. Like, I'm nervous about Tyler Huntley. I don't think he's a horrible start. Like, there's worse situations than the Baltimore Ravens against the Bears. who also have no Khalil Mack. Like Huntley could do okay. But I prefer Tua and Cam over Huntley. Like I would play Cam over Huntley. I would play Cam over Kirk Cousins and over Trevor Siemian too. The only other good waiver wire pickup is Tua. Guys, Tua is a really safe play against the Jets. He really is. Like his floor is, to me, is 15 points. He had at least 15 points against the Bills and against the Patriots. And he went over 20 points against the Jaguars and I think it was the Falcons. So yeah, I think Tua is a pretty safe start. I actually think he's safer than Cam. But Tyler Huntley is a pretty intriguing option now too, and he's available obviously in basically every single league. And you look at Tyler Huntley's profile, he's pretty fast, guys. 92nd percentile speed. He ran a 4.6 140. Like he's gonna run a lot in this game. He was undrafted last year. So I don't hate Tyler Huntley. Like I think you could do worse than Tyler Huntley. But yeah, you can't be starting Bateman. You can't really trust anyone other than still play Andrews. Have Hawk on my bench too. Yeah, I think we push Hawk over Andrews now. I think you kind of have to push Hawk over Andrews. Like Huntley's rushing ability is kind of exciting. He was pretty good in college, man. 10.3 yards per attempt in college, says 94th percentile. I still think you go Hawk over Andrews, though. I feel like Tyler Huntley is just such a wild card. I would like Tua and Cam more than Tyler Huntley, but I think Tyler Huntley is still kind of intriguing upside with his rushing ability. James Robinson or Michael Carter, just worried about the heel injury. Yeah, you can be worried about the heel injury. If you're worried enough about it, just go with Michael Carter. Full PPR, Swift versus Cleveland, Chubb killing clock, and Jamal active. Yeah, you can be a little bit nervous about Swift. He's not going to see the 33 carries he saw last week in this game. Montgomery, yeah. I don't think Lamar being out changes that much for Montgomery, but I wouldn't say you're crazy for starting Montgomery over Swift, but in a PPR league, I think you probably should go Swift still. I still think you should probably go Swift. All right. Good morning, Sam. Good morning, Zachary. Thanks for tuning in. Guys, if you're watching live on YouTube, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you're watching live on TikTok, they added a like button to TikTok, guys. You just tap the screen. It's actually really great. It actually does help us out a lot too. And if you want to see my top 10 rankings, every single position, which can answer a lot of the questions I'm seeing in the chat, come on over to the YouTube Live. The link is in the TikTok bio. But we got a question in the YouTube Live right now. I was wondering, what quarterback should I start with the Lamar news? Free agency has Cam Newton, Danny Dimes, Huntley, Fields, and Siemian. And also, do I start Mark Andrews or Dalton Schultz? Yeah, now I think you go Schultz over Andrews. Andrews is really tough to trust right now. Dalton Schultz is a pretty good option, guys. Lamar Cooper's out. That game's going to be super high scoring, highest over-under of the week. So I think Dalton Schultz is a really good play. That's why I'm playing in my DraftKings lineup. Of all the players mentioned, though, I think I like Cam Newton more than Danny Dimes. I think I like him more than Tyler Huntley. I think I like him more than Justin Fields and more than Trevor Siemian. I am playing Tua over Cam, though. Like I think Tua is also a pretty good option. That's probably available in most leagues. So yeah, if you're in need of a quarterback, go look for Cam, go look for Tua. Huntley to me is like behind those two as a quarterback option in fantasy. He obviously has a good floor and ceiling with his rushing ability. Again, he's a 92nd percentile speed. Like he's a 90th percentile athlete playing the Lamar Jackson role. That's what Tyler Huntley is today. Tannehill or Cam? Yeah, I like Cam more than Tanny. Hey, Sam, what's a nice value tight end for DFS? Yeah, there's a bunch of value tight ends, but my favorite one is Dalton Schultz. I don't know if you're going to count him as a value tight end or not. I think he's in price in the 4,000s. An even deeper tight end would be Dan Arnold, who's been like the top receiver after Agnew for the Jaguars. Liked and subscribed. Love watching. Thanks, man. Gave 5 stars. David Montgomery, Mike Evans. Yeah, I think you go David Montgomery over Mike Evans. Gallup or Kirk? I like Gallup more than Kirk. Again, I think the best tiebreaker for your wide receiver and tight end decisions is quarterback. Who's the quarterback? Love the live and the app every morning. Helps me with the tough decisions every Sunday. Thanks, man. I appreciate that in the TikTok live. But the tiebreaker for your receiver decisions should be quarterback. And Gallup versus Kirk, we're talking about Dak Prescott versus Colt McCoy. So, what are we doing here? What are we doing? You got to go with Dak and Gallup. Please help. T. Higgins or James Conner flex. Yeah, it's got to be James Conner. Yo, Sam, Burrow or Russ? Yo, Aaron, I think I would go with Burrow over Russ. Russ, I feel like could easily go off any given week. Like, it's Russell Wilson we're talking about, one of the most talented quarterbacks of all time. But after what we saw last week against the Packers and against a good Cardinals defense, a defense that has done really, really well this season, I feel like Burrow's the better play. I know the Raiders defense has done really well too. I actually think Cam and Tua are slightly better options than Burrow and Russ, and they're probably available. Like, I won't be surprised even when Tyler Huntley outscores one of Burrow or Russ. Someone asked for the top 10 receivers. Yeah, I'm pulled those up on the YouTube Live as well. Thielen or Terry, full PPR. Yeah, I'd probably go Thielen over Terry. Justin Fields or Derek Carr. I'd lean towards Justin Fields over Derek Carr. Guys, the Bears could very, very well beat the Ravens now. DJ Moore or Mike Evans. That one's really close, man. I think you got to go Mike Evans over DJ Moore. But I have DJ Moore ranked ahead of Mike Evans. Mike Evans has had 2 catches in 2 of his last 3 games. He just continues to bail us out with long touchdowns. DJ Moore, meanwhile, has at least 7 targets in every single game this season. So I'm leaning toward DJ Moore over Mike Evans, even though it feels wrong. Peoples-Jones or Chase? Is this a real question? First of all, Donovan Peoples-Jones is not playing today. But regardless, like, are you really going to be starting him over Jamar Chase? Jamar Chase is an obvious must-start every single week now. Hey, Sam, need help. Deontay Johnson or Jalen Waddle in a non-PPR league? I'm leaning towards Jalen Waddle, man. Jalen Waddle has run the most routes in the NFL this season, and he gets the Jets today. There's no Devontae Parker again. Tua is back, which is good news for Jalen Waddle. I like Jalen Waddle a lot today. I think you should too. Bateman or Smith? Yeah, I'd go Smith. Starting Gronk? No, I'm not starting Gronk. I like Dalton Schultz more than Gronk. I like Mike Gesicki and TJ Hawkinson more than Gronk. I like Dallas Goedert, Dan Arnold. Another good deep tight end, by the way. Someone asked about some deep tight ends in DFS. Cole Kmet. There's no Allen Robinson this week. Cole Kmet could be the number 2 receiver after Darnell Mooney for the Bears today. I think he's a pretty good deep tight end sleeper too. He's really cheap on DraftKings and FanDuel. Oh, Caden, man. I think you know my answer to this, Caden. You should never start 2 tight ends. Gesicki showed us exactly why last week. So, yeah, I'd still go Bateman over Gesicki. Devonte Smith or Bateman? Yeah, I'd go Devonte Smith. Mike Evans or Montgomery? I'd go Montgomery. Burrow or Cam? I'd go Cam, man. I would go Cam. Guys, we're live on YouTube and TikTok. If you're watching live on YouTube, hit the like button. We're so close to 200 likes, man. We're so close to 200 likes. And, yeah, Lamar is out. Do I play Fields or Jimmy G? No, don't play Fields. Don't play Jimmy G. Go to your waiver wire. Go add Tua. Drop Jimmy G. Add Tua. Put Tua into your starting lineup. Tua's floor is 15 points. That's a pretty safe floor. And his ceiling is 30. So, yeah, I'm going Tua over Russ. I'm going Tua over Tannehill. I like Cam Newton a lot, too. I like Tua a little bit more than Cam. I think Tua's a little bit safer than Cam. But I like Cam, too, man. Tua not available. All right, yeah, Tua not available, in which case I think I would go with Fields. Can you pick 2? CD, Jefferson, or Chase? I think you got to go with CD Lamb and Jamar Chase. Bateman or Gaskin, but you want to start all 3 of those guys. Beasley or Ayuk? I would probably go Ayuk the Bazooka over Beasley after what we saw out of Beasley last week. Thanks for the gifts, by the way, in the TikTok live rater. I would go Gallup over Bateman, guys. And I would go Cam over Tannehill. Trade Schultz for Dylan and Mike Williams. Thoughts? What a double trade, Jonah. It's insane. Especially if you have a different tight end to start. If you're watching live on YouTube, guys, hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. We're almost at 200 likes. When we get to we passed 200 likes. When we get to 250 likes, I got a free prop pick for us. It's been a W stream, guys. I've enjoyed this stream a lot so far. Hope you guys have too. Thank you so much for tuning in. Seriously, just spending any amount of time with me Sunday morning. I appreciate that tremendously. I'm seeing an A.J. Dillon or Mark Ingram question. Guys, start A.J. Dillon. The Quadzilla is going to carry you to the fantasy football playoffs. You could see 30 carries today. A.J. Dillon was built for the NFL. He really was. Carr or Cam? Yeah, I like Cam more than Carr. I like Gallup more than Bateman, guys. Jeff Wilson or Joe Mixon in a PPR league. I still like Joe Mixon a little bit more than Jeff Wilson. Do I bench Pittman or Bateman for Miles Sanders? Or no. No, I like both those guys are risky, Sparky, Pittman and Bateman. But you just can't trust Miles Sanders, and you just can't trust Devonta Freeman. Latavius Murray's back. He's back. So you can't trust Devonta Freeman at all. Nick Chubb for Tyreek Hill. Yeah, I would do that one. Swift, Lamb, or Dillon. Yeah, I'd probably just go with Lamb and Dillon. I'd probably just go Lamb and Dillon over Swift. Tua or Cam? Do you trust Tua over Burrow this week? Yeah, I do. I do trust Tua over Burrow. I do trust Tua over Cam too. I think Tua is just a little bit safer than Cam. I like Tua as a safer option than Cam. Again, I'll run through one more time why I like Tua this week. This is my rationale for liking Tua this week. He's played 4 games this season. He's played 4 games. In those 4 games, he's played 2 bad defenses. And against the 2 bad defenses, I think it was the Jaguars and the Falcons, he went over 22 points in both those games. He gets a bad defense today against the Jets. Like, I won't be shocked at all when he goes over 20 points today. In his 2 games against good defenses, against the Patriots and the Bills, he went over 15 points in both of those games too. So Tua feels like a really safe play. I like Cam a lot this week too. Like, the rushing is there for Cam. I think he's going 50 yards in a TD today on the ground. But PJ Walker kind of adds this like layer of concern for me with Cam. It's unclear if Cam's even going to like be out there on 3rd and longs. So he might throw for like under 100 yards, which is why I like Tua a little bit more. Cam or Hurts? Yeah, I have Cam ranked 1 spot ahead of Hurts. In one of my leagues, one of my high stakes leagues, I am starting Hurts over Cam. But I think this one's another really close one. But personally, I'd be going with Hurts over Cam. Gallup or Bateman? Yeah, I'd go Gallup over. It's really not that close. Hey, Sam, Andrews at tight end. What should I do with Lamar out? Also, Waddle or Terry? Yeah, it depends on what you have, Ellie, or Eli. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly. I'm horrible with pronunciation, by the way. I don't watch, I'm horrible with pronunciation. I called Noah Fant for the longest time. But I think that I would go Waddle over Terry McLaurin this week. And if you have Andrews at tight end, there's not going to be a good replacement for Andrews on the waiver wire because it's the tight end position. I would play Dalton Schultz over him, though. For example, in this situation, Matt, I would play Dalton Schultz over Mark Andrews now. I would definitely be playing TJ Hawkinson and Mike Gesicki over Mark Andrews now, too. I honestly think you could start Goddard and Arnold and Cole Kmet over Andrews now, too. I don't think this passing attack for the Ravens is going to be very good today. Burrow or Cam? Yeah, I like Cam more than Burrow. Against the spread, plays of the day. Yeah, come to the YouTube Live. Come to the YouTube Live. Link is in the TikTok bio. Come to the YouTube Live, and I'll pull up my favorite picks against the spread. We had my only lock this week, and I'm, 63% now with my lock picks against the spread. My only lock this week was the Patriots, -7 against the Falcons. So hopefully you tuned into the Thursday Live for that because that was just an absolute layup. I couldn't believe how many people were taking the Falcons in that game. This just made no sense to me. But I have no other locks against the spread today. I think the spreads are really tough today. But my favorite one is probably the 49ers against the Jaguars. Tyler Huntley or Fields? Here we are, man. It's week 11. We're talking about Tyler Huntley versus Justin Fields. Tyler Huntley is another good rushing quarterback, and that matters so much in fantasy. And we also know the system Tyler Huntley is being inserted in with the Baltimore Ravens makes him a guy worth considering in fantasy. He could run even more than Lamar does because he's probably a much worse passer than Lamar. But I still think I'd go Justin Fields. I still think Justin Fields is safer than Tyler Huntley. Tyler Huntley is just a little bit of a wild card. Guys, we're only 40 likes away from 250, and then we get a free prop pick. Hit the like button on the YouTube Live. Helps us out a ton. I really do appreciate it. Burrow or Hurts? Yeah, I'd lean towards Hurts. Ingram or Montgomery? Yeah, it's got to be David Montgomery for me this week over Mark Ingram. Ingram or Cooks? Yeah, I'd probably go Brandon Cooks over Ingram too. Guys, we are live on YouTube. We're live on TikTok on the YouTube Live. We got my favorite picks against the spread showing right now. And we have my top 10 rankings, every single position. Is Cam a fine start with Kyler out? Yes, he is. He's a fine start. I think he's rushing for at least 50 yards in a TD today. Washington has not been good against quarterbacks. They're also without Chase Young. No Chase Young for Washington for the rest of the season. Hopefully he's able to come back by the time next season starts. And Washington defense actually did okay last week against Brady. He only had 18 fantasy points, but that's kind of the floor for quarterbacks against this defense. Almost every quarterback against this defense has had at least 20 points. I'm annoyed, Sam. Now that Lamar's out, who should I play? Flex and a half PPR. Bateman, Watkins, Hilton, Laviska Shenault, Saquon Smith. Yeah, I can see, Philip, why you're annoyed, man. These are horrible options. To the point where I think you still go Bateman. I think you still go Bateman in this situation, Philip. You trust in the wild card that is Tyler Huntley, and you just try out Bateman. Bateman's the most talented guy on this list, and he's still the top receiver for the Ravens. Do I risk starting Gronk over Knox? No, I don't think I'd risk that. Swift, reigning / Goff-less, or Connor versus Seahawks. Yeah, I'd go Connor versus Seahawks over Swift. I would go Connor versus the Seahawks over Swift. And I don't feel good about that. And my rankings disagree with that decision too. But with Jamal Williams back, Goff out, I don't think it's crazy to go with James Conner over Swift. Mark Ingram or DK Metcalf? Yeah, got to go DK. Connor ain't scoring on us. Yeah, I mean, the Seahawks defense has been really bad against running backs. He probably is going to score on you. But what you got to be hoping for as a Seahawks fan is for the offense to figure it out. The Seahawks need the offense to figure it out. The defense really hasn't been very good. They ranked second worst against running backs in fantasy football this season. So many touchdowns to running backs. A.J. Dillon had 2 last week. The Seahawks have to figure it out offensively. Will Kyler Murray play? No, guys, there's so many injuries this week. If you're just tuning in, if you're just waking up on this Sunday morning, you're behind. You got to catch up. So let me catch you up really quickly. Lamar Jackson, he's not playing today. He's dealing with a pretty severe illness that's not COVID, but I guess it's still really bad. There's plenty of illnesses, non-COVID, out there, by the way, that are bad. And this is just another example. So Lamar Jackson not playing because he's sick. And Kyler Murray's not playing because he's injured. We also have Cam Newton is back, and he's startable this week. We have Joe Flacco starting for the Jets. So good luck to all Jets fans today. Honestly, pour one out for the Jets fans out there. Jets fans are one of the more impressive fan bases to me because they are super passionate and they're just very, very consistent fans. When is the app coming to Android? It's coming very soon. If I remembered my Android password, I would show you. But it's coming very soon. I have an Android now. The Android's coming, man. Thoughts on Bateman with no Lamar? Yeah, Bateman's got to be downgraded with no Lamar. He's got to be downgraded with no Lamar. But I still think Bateman can be started in some situations. Bateman's still the number 1 receiver pretty clearly for the Ravens. I'm in a very tough situation. Bateman, Gallup, Renfro, Jeff Wilson, full PPR. Yeah, I would rank these guys. I think Jeff Wilson's the best, and then Gallup's number 2. Then Bateman's probably number 3 for me, and Renfro's number 4. But all of these guys aren't horrible. I like Gaskin too this week. I would argue Gaskin's safer than Gallup, but guys, Gallup has a pretty exciting ceiling. I don't think you can you should feel too bad about starting Gallup. But I would start Gaskin over Gallup, and I would start Gallup over Renfro. And I would start Gallup over Bateman too. So I would start Gaskin over Bateman as well if you're making that decision. Tyler Huntley. How much does Tyler Huntley cost in DraftKings? It's probably minimum priced. This is going to be a crazy DraftKings and FanDuel slate, guys. We got Tyler Huntley, Cam Newton, Tua, all super cheap, good options at quarterback. I think you got to be playing David Montgomery, by the way, on DraftKings. They just didn't change his price at all, even though he's really locked into one of the safest workloads in all of football. Pick 2, please. Bateman, Pollard, or Miles Sanders. Yeah, you can't be starting Sanders, guys. I would be going with Bateman. Rodgers, Tua, or Cousins. Yeah, start Rodgers, Michael. Start Rodgers. Cousins or Cam. I like Cam more than Cousins. Is Saquon startable this week? Yeah, he is. He is startable. I would start Newton over Kirk Cousins. Cam or Tua? Yeah, that's the question of the day, guys. I like Tua a little bit more as just a safer option over Cam. I think Tua's floor is 15 points. His ceiling is 30. I need help. Antonio Gibson or Bateman? Yeah, I'd go Gibson over Bateman. T. Higgins or Michael Gallup? I like Higgins a little bit more than Gallup. CEH or Pollard. Oh, God, like you don't want to start CEH, but do you really want to start Pollard? I guess I'd go Pollard over CEH if I had to choose. Guys, we're live on YouTube and TikTok right now on the YouTube Live. Link is in the bio, in the TikTok bio to come to the YouTube Live. We are 30 likes, less than 30 likes away from 250 likes on the YouTube Live. And when we get there, I got a free prop pick for everyone. So smash the like button if you're watching live on YouTube. If you're watching live on TikTok also, come to the YouTube Live. On the YouTube Live, you get my top 10 rankings, every single position. My favorite picks against the spread. We cashed on the Patriots as a lock Thursday night, -7. Got all my other favorite picks against the spread on the YouTube Live as well. And if you are watching live on YouTube, guys, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Do appreciate it. Guys, we're inching towards 6,000 YouTube subscribers. Thank you so much to all of you who have subscribed on YouTube. Now that Lamar's out, I'm torn between Bateman or Mooney. Yeah, Evan, I would go Mooney over Bateman. Is CEH playing? Yeah, it looks like he is, Tommy. Looks like CEH is playing. But should he be playing in your fantasy lineups? Probably not. Probably not yet. Golladay or Deontay Harris? Yeah, go Golladay, man. Go Golladay. There's no Sterling Shepard this week. I feel like Golladay could sneakily be a good play this week. I think that you're the first person I've seen, and we've gotten thousands of comments during this live that has mentioned Kenny Galladay's name. And, like, that's how deep of a sleeper he is at this point. I still think he could do well as the top receiver for the Giants this week against the Bucs on Monday Night Football. Jeff Wilson versus Marvin Jones. It's got to be Jeff, especially in a non-PPR league. We got to stop starting Marvin Jones. Best QB to start with Kyler out. Yeah, there's so many good quarterback options. My favorite is Tua. My favorite's Tua. I think Tua is a super safe bet. He's available in most leagues. If you can't get Tua, then go look for Cam. If you can't get Cam, then go look for Tyler Huntley. We got Tyler Huntley starting for the Ravens today. He's a 95th percentile athlete playing the Lamar Jackson role for the Ravens against a Bears defense that really has not been very good against quarterbacks this season, and they're without Khalil Mack. So yeah, I think like you could do worse than Huntley too. Michael Pittman or T. Higgins? Jackson is playing. Wait. Chat. We got confirmation Jackson wasn't playing. Now I'm seeing some people saying Jackson is playing, but no, I don't think Jackson's playing. Yeah, I know he's officially out. Tyler Huntley starting at quarterback for the Ravens. So some Week 11 starting quarterbacks, guys. We got Joe Flacco starting for the Jets against the Dolphins. Go nowhere near Joe Flacco today. I would be shocked if Joe Flacco has a good day. Tyler Huntley starting for the Ravens against the Bears. Not a horrible option. The Chicago Bears rank like dead middle against quarterbacks this season. They've been really average on defense. They've been bad against receivers, which I don't think is necessarily a good thing for this matchup for Tyler Huntley. They did well against Big Ben in their last game out. Brett Hundley, I think is – sorry, I keep thinking Brett Hundley. Tyler Huntley, I think, is pretty risky. We have Trevor Siemian starting for the Saints again. I mean, the Saints, I think, have the least talented quarterback room in the NFL right now. Colt McCoy starting for the Cardinals. Cam Newton starting for the Panthers. I mean, just a crazy lineup of quarterbacks this week. And I think I like Cam the most out of all of those guys, but I like Tua a little bit more than Cam. Sam, SOS. Should I drop Javonte Williams, Corey Davis, or something to pick up Danny Dimes, Huntley, Cam, or Kirk on waivers once I lost Lamar? Yeah, I think you go with Cam. I think you go with Cam in this situation over Huntley. I think Cam has a better matchup too. Like Cam's up against Washington. Washington has allowed at least 18 fantasy points to every single quarterback that they played except for week 1. And they also just lost Chase Young for the season. So I think Cam is a pretty safe bet, man. 2-month WalterPicks subscriber. Thank you so much, man. Yeah, guys, subscribing in the WalterPicks app to one of the premium subscriptions, it's literally $5 a month. I appreciate it a ton. It's the number one way you could possibly support me. All of the WalterPicks subscribers, you are the reason I'm able to do this every Sunday morning as my full-time job. And I'm honestly blessed that I get to be doing this. I'm having so much fun. All right. Pittman or DJ Moore? Yeah, it's got to be DJ Moore, man. It's got to be DJ Moore. DJ Moore just has a much better matchup against the Washington secondary. Meanwhile, Pittman's up against a really scary Buffalo secondary. Would you do Knox over Hawkinson with Goff out? I think it's close. I would still go Hawkinson, though, over Knox. Cam or Fields? I like Cam more than Justin Fields. Bateman or Zach Moss. Yeah, I can't get behind Zach Moss anymore. He's had 3 straight good matchups. He hasn't had 11 points or 12 points in any of those games. QB ranking. Yeah, let me pull up my quarterback rankings. Though they have changed. Let me change these a little bit, actually, really quickly. Because Lamar's out, which adjusts things a little bit. We're going to let me update these quarterback rankings now that Lamar's out. As we're getting close to the point on the live stream where we switch just to the YouTube live. We always end our live streams only on YouTube. I do this for a couple of reasons, and mostly because it's easier to answer the comments on YouTube. And at the end of the live streams, I always try to go rapid fire with comments. So come to the YouTube live now. If you're watching live on TikTok, link is in the TikTok bio. Plus, it's just easier for me to pull up comments, and I get to show a little bit more info. All right, we're going to update these quarterback rankings really quickly. We have come to the YouTube live. Let me pull up the QB rankings. I've just updated them with the Lamar news. And here they are. Top 10 fantasy QBs. I got Josh Allen's number 1. You got to start Mahomes, obviously. I think Rodgers, even with the toe injury, he comes in at number 3 for me. Got to be starting Aaron Rodgers. Got to start Tom Brady, too, against the Giants Monday night if you have him. And you have to start Dak Prescott. Those are the 5 guys that I think you have to start. You got to start these guys if you have them. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Dak Prescott. After that, I think there's some interesting decisions to be made. I still think you kind of have to start Justin Herbert too. But I have Tua ranked number 7. My number 7 overall quarterback this week is Tua, and he's available in most leagues. I would definitely start Mike Williams over Bateman, Anthony, in the TikTok chat. But I have Newton ranked ahead of Carson Wentz. I have Newton ranked ahead of Jalen Hurts. I have Newton ranked ahead of Ryan Tannehill. I have Tua ranked ahead of Newton, though. And I have Tua ranked ahead of Jalen Hurts, too. These are some tough decisions you're going to have to make. But, again, Tua's got a good matchup against the Jets. He's had at least 15 points in every game. Bro. Higgins or Pittman? Yeah, it's got to be Higgins, man. I'm assuming you meant Muth or Knox for the tight end position. Yeah, I do like Knox a little bit more than Muth. Jeff Wilson or Michael Pittman? Got to be Jeff Wilson. Darrell Williams, Cole Beasley, T. Higgins, Mike Williams, Gibson. Choose one for flex. Yeah, I think it's Jeff Wilson. Or Jeff Wilson wasn't in this one. I think it's T. Higgins. I like T. Higgins more than Mike Williams. T. Higgins, I think, is going to have a 100-yard day for the first game of the season today. Higgins has actually been targeted almost as much as Jamar Chase. Saquon Barkley or Jeff Wilson Jr. This is a tough one for me. It really is. I want you to start Saquon Barkley. But Saquon Barkley doesn't have the best matchup in his first game back. Jeff Wilson does have a good matchup. I don't think you're crazy for going Jeff Wilson over Saquon this week. I think I would lean towards Jeff Wilson. Bateman, Ayuk, or Beasley? Yeah, I'd go. I think with the Lamar news, I'd probably go Ayuk or the Bazooka over Rashad Bateman. Should I trade for Derrick Henry? No. Derrick Henry's out for the season. So no, don't trade for Derrick Henry, man. Carr, Jimmy, or Cam, or Huntley? Yeah, let me pull up my QB rankings. Oh, they're actually here. Yeah, answer the question right for you on the YouTube live. Link is in the TikTok bio, by the way, if you're watching live on TikTok. I got Cam ranked as a top 8 quarterback this week. And it's because of the rushing and the matchup. So I like Cam more than Jimmy and Huntley. Elijah Moore or Callaway? I think with Joe Flacco starting, I would go with Callaway. I'm seeing a Joe Flacco or Huntley question. I love this one, Jake. I hope this isn't an actual decision you have to make, but more just a funny question. And honestly, I would go Huntley over Joe Flacco. I don't think there's a single quarterback I'd be starting over Joe Flacco this week, even though he has a good matchup. How do you think Kenyon Drake will do? Probably not great. Kenyon Drake has weirdly had in his last 5 games, I think 3 or 4 top 12 running back performances. And Josh Jacobs has dealt with some injuries too. Oh, trust me, it's an actual decision I have to make. Yeah, I would go Huntley, man. If don't put yourself through the pain of rooting for Joe Flacco. Don't do it. Don't do it to yourself. Just play Huntley. Huntley is at least an exciting athlete. And he's playing the Lamar Jackson role. 95th percentile athlete. He also was actually a pretty good deep passer in college. 94th percentile yards per attempt in college. So yeah, I don't hate Huntley if you're choosing him over Joe Flacco. What should I do with Cam Newton and Kyler? Just start Cam in the early slot? Kyler's not playing. No, Kyler's not playing. I don't think maybe it hasn't been officially reported, but it's like as close to official as official can be without officially being official. So I would be careful with trusting Kyler Murray. I would just still go start Cam. Tua is available to pick up too. Yeah, I like Tua more than Cam. I actually do like Tua more than Cam. Talked about that a lot in the stream. All right, guys. In 3 minutes, we're going to go to the YouTube Live, and we're going to shut down the TikTok Live, and we're going to go to rapid-fire questions because we are getting close to the end of the stream. Thank you so much for everyone who's tuned in. Again, the link to the YouTube Live is in the TikTok bio, and we go rapid-fire the last 20-ish minutes of the YouTube Live, and you can come to the YouTube Live right now. We've been live on YouTube this entire time. Chris Godwin or Jamar Chase? I think I have Jamar Chase. Yeah, I have Jamar Chase ranked ahead of Chris Godwin. I think you go Chase. I like Godwin a lot too against the Giants. I would be going with Waller over Kittle, by the way. Mike Williams or Devonte Smith? Yeah, it's got to be Devonte Smith for me over Mike Williams. They both have similar ceilings, but Devonte Smith's seen more consistent volume recently. CEH, yeah, don't start him. He's back, but don't start him. Thielen or Gallup at flex? Yeah, you got to go Thielen. I like Gallup a lot too, but you got to go Thielen. Muth or Conklin? Conklin's another good deep sleeper at tight end. I think you still go Muth, but on DraftKings and FanDuel, I don't hate Tyler Conklin. Waller or Kelsey? Yeah, let me pull up my tight end rankings on the YouTube Live again really quick. Kelsey is the number one tight end for sure. Then it's Waller, then it's Kittle for me. Watkins or Sanders? You can't start Sammy Watkins. You can't do it. Even if he has a good game, like the process is not good starting Sammy Watkins. I think Sanders is a better option. Gallup or Devonta? Yeah, that one's much closer. I still think I go Devonte Smith. What's the free prop? Oh, we crossed. We're 7 likes away, actually. 7 likes away. So smash the like button. 6 likes away. Hit the like button on the YouTube Live. We got a free prop pick, and I think you guys are going to like it. I do. Now, honestly, I was shocked when I saw this prop in the line that was set for this prop. It's a guy we actually have talked about a lot. So hit the like button on the YouTube Live, and we're there. 250 likes. Guys, the free prop pick of the day, it's Cam Newton. Over 22.5 rushing yards. He had 14 rushing yards on 3 carries last week, and they were all near the goal line. Cam, to me, his floor today is 50 rushing yards. I'd be pretty surprised if he doesn't get close to 50 rushing yards today. This prop to me is like set wildly off. Let me know what you're seeing his rushing prop at. I found this prop on PrizePicks. If you've never used PrizePicks before, you can actually use PrizePicks legally in almost every single state because it's not a betting app. It's actually a daily fantasy app, but it's designed around player props. And they got Cam Newton at 22.5 rushing yards today. Use the code Walter if you're signing up. You will get a deposit bonus. All right, guys. We're going to shut down the TikTok Live. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We're going to be on YouTube Live, though, for the next 30 minutes. So come to the YouTube Live. I'm going to try to answer as many comments as I can. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll be back live soon. Make sure you hit that follow button, too, if you're watching live on TikTok. Putting out TikTok content, man, every single day. All right, guys, we are in the best part of the live stream where we are only live on TikTok. I wanted to pull this up really quick. I wanted to see what the line is at for Cam right now on some of the other sports books. But yeah, on PrizePicks, it's 22.5. 22.5 rushing yards is just significantly too low. For Cam Newton, who's going to play likely every single first and second down today against a bad Washington defense with no Chase Young, I'm seeing 28.5 on this sports book. I would take this as high as 30.5. I think he's easily going over 30 yards. But on PrizePicks, you can go get this one on PrizePicks right now. Use the code Walter. If you haven't signed up yet, you'll get a $100 deposit bonus. But yeah, I'm going with Cam, man. Over 22.5 rushing yards. I think that's just an absolute layup. Absolute layup. And I would take this one as high as 28, 29.5. Who do I trade Aaron Jones for? I mean, rank. This is such a open-ended question, man. Is PJ Walker a concern when starting Cam? Yeah, he is, JJ. He's a concern. He's definitely a concern. Like, there's valid concern there. I feel like the Panthers don't trust him as a passer, which is why I feel pretty good about his rushing prop. Like, I think they rightfully don't trust him as a passer. But Is PJ Walker that much better? Like, I'm not so sure. But yeah, it is a concern. But I think that it's like 50 rushing yards and a touchdown. Cam's already at 11 fantasy points. Kelsey or Wilson Jr.? Yeah, it's got to be Kelsey. Weather report. There's no concerning weather today. The only game that might have some rain, I think, is the Lions game. Lions versus the Browns. But I don't really worry about rain at all. Like, I care about wind, and there's no windy games today. No wind even in the 20 miles an hour, so I'm not that worried. Pick 2, Ayuka the Bazooka. Love that Ayuka the Bazooka catch down, by the way. Absolutely love it. Pick 1, Bateman, Ayuk, Tony, Mike Williams. Yeah, I would probably go Mike Williams here. I would probably go Mike Williams, Jacob. I think I'd go Mike Williams. I'm screwed, but I need to choose between AJ Green, Watkins, Alex Collins. Yeah, I know it's bad. Yeah, Marcus, no judgment, man. You got to do what you got to do in fantasy. And I think that in this situation, this is pretty easily between Alex Collins and Latavius Murray, both of which are starting running backs for their own teams. So you could do much worse. Honestly, like Latavius Murray with no Lamar Jackson isn't horrible. But I think I would go Alex Collins. Deontay Foreman or Pittman? Yeah, I'm benching Pittman, man. I think you got to bench Pittman this week against the Bills. I would go with Deontay Foreman over Pittman. Jeff Wilson or Michael Carter? It's got to be Jeff Wilson over Michael Carter this week. I like both of them, though, this week. And definitely Jeff Wilson over Darrell Williams. I'm doing a 1 p.m. only DraftKings lineup. Are there any suggestions you have? Yeah, I think if you're doing 1 p.m., so that removes the Chiefs and Cowboys game. I forget the other 2 late window games. But let me pull up my DraftKings lineup really quickly so you can get an idea of some of the guys I'm playing. I like Tua a lot. I like the Tua Jalen Waddle stack a lot. I think Jalen Waddle could have his first 100-yard game today against the Jets. He's run the most routes in the league. There's no Devontae Parker, and we know the Jets aren't good. So I like Jalen Waddle and Tua stacked together a lot, and that does free up a lot of stuff. Though, like Tyler Huntley is an interesting DFS option now too because he's probably minimum priced. So I don't think he's the worst option either. I do think that at the tight end position, a super deep sleeper is Cole Kmet, who is also near minimum priced. No Allen Robinson today. So Cole Kmet could see a slight uptick in volume as well. Please answer. Thumb's getting tired, LOL. Keenan Allen or A.J. Brown? Yeah, it's A.J. Brown. You got to start A.J. Brown. You have to start A.J. Brown this week. This is such a bounce-back spot for him against the Texans. Playoff push, baby. It's all about the playoff push. We got to get into the playoffs. Step 1 in fantasy football. Step 1 to winning your league is always making the playoffs. So this is all your focus should be on in the really throughout the whole season until you're in. Montgomery or Brandon Cooks? Yeah, it's got to be Montgomery for me. I like Brandon Cooks today too, but I don't hate Montgomery either. Like I think you go Montgomery. Sam, help please. James Robinson or Monty? I'm assuming. Yeah, I think James Robinson is a little bit better than David Montgomery, but you got to be a little bit concerned about the injury. If you're concerned about the heel injury for James Robinson, then I don't think you're crazy for going with Jeff Wilson or for going with David Montgomery. But I'm not that concerned about the injury. Like he's playing, so I would go James Robinson. Agnew or Miles Sanders? Yeah, that one I think is Miles Sanders. You got some thumbs getting tired. Man, guys. The pick 3, Gaskin, Josh Jacobs, Cook, Ingram. Which Cook are we talking about? Because if it's Dalvin Cook, I mean, this is really a pick 2. If it's Jared Cook, then he shouldn't even be in the question. But if it's Dalvin Cook, obviously Dalvin Cook. And then Gaskin, I think Gaskin and Josh Jacobs for me ahead of Ingram. Corey Davis, Galladay, Ayuk. Honestly, like really, really tough to trust Corey Davis with Joe Flacco starting. So I think I would go with Galladay over Ayuk this week. I'd go with Bateman over Pittman still, I think, Greg. And that's probably wrong process to go with Bateman over Pittman with how good Pittman's doing and with Tyler Huntley starting. But I'm really nervous about Pittman. Gaskin or David Montgomery? Yes, David Montgomery for me over Gaskin. Is Cam a better choice than Carr, who plays the Bengals? Wentz is also available. Yeah, you can't start Wentz. Also got Gallup and Waddle. Should Bateman replace one? No, I like Gallup and Waddle more than Bateman. And I do think Cam is a better option than Derek Carr. Huntley, Daniel Jones, or Trevor Siemian? Yeah, I think it's Daniel Jones over Huntley for me. Huntley's super risky, guys. Like he at least has some exciting rushing upside. He's in 95th percentile athlete, and he's, taking the Lamar Jackson role. But I still think Daniel Jones is much safer. Killed at running backs with injuries and buys. Dearness Johnson, Adrian Peterson, and Latavius Murray full PPR. I don't think Dearness Johnson's the worst play. I still think Latavius Murray's probably going to outtouch Dearness Johnson. But Dearness Johnson's against the Lions. Like, we know what the Browns do at running back. Like, Nick Chubb is the most efficient running back in the NFL, but he's not the biggest workload guy. Like, he's not going to get 25, 30 carries in a game. Like, they cap his touches. And that's good news for Dearness Johnson, who's basically taking over the Kareem Hunt role against a really bad Lions defense. So I don't think you're crazy for going Dearness Johnson. All right, guys, we're going to go rapid fire in the comments now. Let me pull up my top 10 running backs while we do this. I've been asking since 11. Joey, thanks for sticking around, man. Christian Kirk or Lockett? Yeah, like, I feel like you got to go Lockett. In this type of situation, and don't get me wrong, like, Lockett's tough. He's tough in fantasy. He's going to score 5 points or 25 points. But Christian Kirk isn't that much different. And then you're deciding between Russell Wilson and Colt McCoy. Like, I would go Lockett, man. Carter or Ingram? I do like Carter this week a little bit more than Mark Ingram. Muth, Knox, Goddard. Yeah, I'd probably rank these guys. Knox number 1, Goddard number 2, Muth number 3. With Lamar out, what's up with Bateman? Yeah, you got to downgrade Bateman a little bit. With Lamar out. You have to downgrade Rashad Bateman. He's still going to be their top receiver, but, I mean, we can't trust Tyler Huntley that much. I got you, Joey. Thanks for sticking around, man. I appreciate your time. All right. Fields or Huntley? Yeah, I'd go Fields over Huntley. Hey, Sam, Latavius Murray or Mantle Sanders? I think I'd go Latavius Murray over Manny Sanders. Let me pull up Manny Sanders really quick. Sanders has been really boom or bust this season as well. Up against the Colts secondary today, which is not been very good. Manny Sanders had 2 targets last week, but he's had over 100 air yards in 3 of his last 4. Yeah, I think I changed my mind. I think in a PPR league, I'd go Manny Sanders. Bateman or Tony? I'd still go Bateman over Tony. Tony's a really tough one this week too. There's no Sterling Shepard. He gets the Bucs, which is a good matchup for Tony. Bateman with Tyler Huntley. Maybe you should go Tony. I still think Bateman's going to get more targets than Tony, though. I still think Bateman gets more targets than Tony. So I would go Bateman over Tony still. I would go Golladay over both of them, though. I would go Golladay over both. Swift or Montgomery, yeah. You can see I have Swift really high in my running back rankings. I think Montgomery's, honestly, maybe safer than Swift. But in a PPR league, you got to be playing Swift. Going to Carr. Jared, I like Tua and Cam Newton more than Derek Carr this week, if they're both available. Jeff Wilson or Mike Williams PPR, please. Yeah, I like Jeff Wilson more than Mike Williams. Yeah, you got to be starting Aaron Rodgers. The 6 quarterbacks that I think you got to start are the top 6 here. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Dak Prescott, Justin Herbert. You got to start those 6. After that, now I think you can start getting into the Tua, Cam Newton conversation. Then I think it gets much closer. Guys, if you haven't hit that like button yet and hit that subscribe button yet, hit those buttons. It takes like 2 seconds. Helps us out a ton. I've been here for like 20 minutes, please. Choose one: Bateman, Miles Sanders, Beasley. Oh, God. I think all of these guys are super risky. I don't want to start Miles Sanders this week, but I think I'd go Miles Sanders over Bateman and Beasley. Pick one: Tyler Conklin, TJ Hawk. Yeah, it's Hawkinson. It's got to be Hawk, man. I know it's a risky start with the quarterback situation in Detroit, but I think you still go Hawk as the pretty clear top receiver for the Lions after DeAndre Swift. Mixon or DJ Moore? Yeah, you kind of have to go Mixon. Over DJ Moore. Foreman thoughts long-term. Yeah, Carson, Foreman's got a hashtag revenge game against the Texans today. He's been by far the best Titans running back, and we have the number 3 running back for the Titans dealing with an injury. Jeremy McNichols out. And Adrian Peterson has not looked good. He's at under 30 yards, under 3 yards a touch. So I think Foreman, like playing the number one running back role for the Titans, it could be much worse. Yeah, so Jared, the free prop pick today is Cam Newton. Over 22.5 rushing yards. I think he's going to go for 50 rushing yards and a touchdown at least on the ground. And I know PJ Walker's a possibility. I get it. And Derek Carr has been good this season. But they're going to use Cam a lot today as a runner. And that is why I think he's a better option than Derek Carr. I don't think he's necessarily a safer option, though. So, Jared, if you want to play it safe at the quarterback position, you can go with Derek Carr. And by the way, guys, you gotta make your own decisions. I'm going to give you a lot of advice on these live streams. But the number one most fun part about fantasy football is making your own decision. So I'm going to give you as much advice as I can. The WalterPicks app going to give you all the insights you could possibly need. But at the end of the day, man, you got to make your own decision. Lockett, Wilson, or Gallup need a big week. Also, Gibson or Wilson. Yeah, I'd go Jeff Wilson over Gibson. I think Gallup versus Lockett's so tough. I think I would go Gallup, honestly, over Lockett, though. Gallup has similar upside. That's the thing. That's why I would go Gallup over Lockett. I think his floor is higher and his ceiling's similar. CEH or Ayuk at flex. Yeah, I would go Ayuk or the Bazooka Dessa. CEH is just so tough to trust. He's been out for a while, and while he was out, the backup, Darrell Williams, did better than him. So, like, Darrell Williams is going to be involved. It's already not a super running back-friendly offense. Even though there's going to be a lot of touchdown scoring in that game, I'm nervous about it. So I would be staying away from Clyde this week. Bills defense or Panthers defense? I'd lean towards the Panthers defense. It's who I'm playing on DraftKings this week. The Panthers defense is good, guys, and Washington's offense isn't that scary. Let me pull up this question. Devonte Smith or Deontay Johnson? Yeah, I would go with Deontay Johnson over Devonte Smith. Pick 2, half PPR, Swift, Ingram, Saquon, Gibson. Yeah, I would probably go Saquon and Swift here. Or I like Saquon more than Ingram and more than Gibson. Hey, Sam, I need some help here. Pick 2, CEH, Darrell Williams, Bateman, or Ayuka, the Bazooka. Yeah, I think you gotta stay away from Clyde and Darrell Williams. But in what could be a high-scoring game, honestly, Alexander, I don't think it's like the worst strategy ever to just start both. When you have an entire backfield, it raises the floor, right? Like it's just like a safer, there's less upside, but it's a safe option because the odds that at least one of them scores the touchdown is actually pretty high. So I don't think going CH and Darrell Williams in what should be the highest scoring game of the week, is what's projected to be the highest scoring game of the week, is the worst option ever. But I also think Bateman and Ayuk are better than the other two. So I would say either start both CEH and Darrell Williams or don't start either of them. That's my thoughts there. Ingram, Bateman, or Gallup PPR? Yeah, Ingram's the safest option here, Joey. Definitely not Bateman with Lamar out. I like Gallup, I think, more than Ingram, especially from a ceiling perspective. But Ingram's definitely a little bit safer. Personally, though, I'd be going Gallup. Keenan or DJ? Yeah, I got to start Keenan Allen. Hey, Sam, I need some help. Should I start Burrow, Tua, or Cam? Yeah, I like Tua the most. Then Cam, then Burrow. Arnold or Komet? Yeah, I like Arnold. I think a little bit more than Komet. Good morning, Sam. Please pick 1, half PPR. Corey Davis with Flacco. Yeah, absolutely not. Brian Edwards. Absolutely not. Amon-Ra St. Brown. Absolutely not. Cole Komet. Yeah, absolutely not. Super deep 12-team league. Yeah, I'm in first place with this team. That's crazy, JJ. Yeah, I think, honestly, like after seeing this whole list of players, you can't start Cole Komet. You can't start a tight end here. I guess Corey Davis is the best option, even with Flacco. You don't want to put yourself through the pain of rooting for Joe Flacco, like in having any sort of incentive behind Joe Flacco today, but I think you go Corey Davis. Pick 2, Kenny Golladay, Darrell Williams, Elijah Moore, Saquon Barkley. Yeah, it's got to be Golladay and Saquon. Just go with Golladay and Saquon. They should be the top 2 options for the Giants against a good Buccaneers offense. Like they're going to have to put up points. Hey, Sam, should I start Claypool or Brandon Cooks at flex? Yeah, it's got to be Cooks, man. It's got to be Cooks over Chase. This is not a good game for Chase Claypool. The Chargers have allowed the least points to wide receivers this season. Running back rankings, please. Yeah, let me pull those up. All right, guys, I got time for a few more questions. Then we will be wrapping up the live stream. Thank you so much for tuning in. I do appreciate it. Hey, Sam, pick 3, Brandon Cooks, Michael Carter, or David Montgomery, or Keenan Allen. Also, Herbert or Tua. Got to go Herbert over Tua. For the first question, Brandon Cooks. I'd probably go Brandon Cooks, David Montgomery, and Keenan Allen. I think I'd bench Michael Carter there. Pick 2, CeeDee Lamb or Austin Eckler or Mike Evans. Yeah, got to be Lamb or Eckler. Got to be Lamb and Eckler. Oh, sorry, I pulled up that question. Cooks, Lockett, Wilson Jr., or Higgins at flex. Yeah, I think you go Brandon Cooks in this situation too. Deontay Foreman, Dearness Johnson, Kadarius Toney, or Golladay. Yeah, in the non-PPR formats, like I think you go with the running backs. I think you go with the first 2 in a non-PPR league. I think both those guys are getting minimum 10 carries today. So in a non-PPR league, I think they're the safest bets. Have a good day, Sean. Thanks for tuning in, man. Pick 2, James Robinson, Michael Carter, or Josh Jacobs. Yeah, I think I would go with the first 2 over Josh Jacobs. Bateman or Devonte Smith now. Yeah, I think it's Devonte Smith over Bateman now, Ryan. With Lamar out, I think it's Devonte Smith over Bateman. Hawk or Schultz. Yeah, I'd lean towards Hawkinson over Schultz still. I like Schultz. Actually, I think I have Schultz ranked 1 spot ahead of Hawkinson. Yeah, I do. I think Schultz is the last tight end I'd start over TJ Hawkinson. And again, like, let's do the quarterback tie here. It's Dak Prescott versus whoever the Lions are starting today. So, yeah, I think that you go with Schultz. But I do still like Hawkinson in most situations. You see my tight end rankings at the bottom of the screen here. There's only 6 tight ends I'm starting over Hawkinson today. Schultz is the last one. Mark Andrews or Dalton Schultz? Yeah, I still think I'd go Dalton Schultz over Mark Andrews. These rankings, by the way, were before the Lamar news. So I think I would go Schultz over Andrews now. Cam or Dak? Yeah, it's got to be Dak. You've got to start Dak. Should I drop Marlon Mack even if I have JT? I have Hines as well. Yeah, you can drop Marlon Mack pretty safely now. Cousins or Burrow? Yeah, I think I like Cousins a little bit more than Burrow this week. I think I would lean towards Cousins over Burrow this week. Thielen or DJ Moore? I like DJ Moore more than Thielen. Thanks for helping out. Much love. Been using the app since week 4, and it's kept my team alive after losing Henry, Ridley, Edmonds, CH, Ruggs, and Logan Thomas in a 14-man league. Carson, that's what I'm talking about, man. Guys, if you haven't checked out the WalterPicks app yet, you got to check it out. Love the app. Saquon or Carter? I lean towards Saquon over Carter this week. I feel like that's a pretty good cutoff for starting Saquon Barkley. You're going to start Michael Carter on a Joe Flacco-led offense. I know the Dolphins' defense isn't very good, but I think I would lean towards Saquon Barkley here. Myles Gaskin or Antonio Gibson? Yeah, I think I like Gaskin a little bit more than Antonio Gibson as well. Guys, let me run through really quickly the games and the guys that I think you got to be starting today. At the quarterback position, this is going to be to wrap up the stream, guys. At the quarterback position, you got to start Josh Allen. You got to start Patrick Mahomes. You got to start Aaron Rodgers. You got to start Tom Brady. You got to start Dak Prescott. You got to start Justin Herbert. Got to start those 6 guys. After those 6 guys, I like Tua a lot against the Jets today. I think Cam Newton's startable, even though PJ Walker might still be involved. Those are my 2 favorite streamers. I don't think Tyler Huntley's the worst deep streamer either, subbing in for Lamar Jackson today against the Bears. At the running back position, some guys that I think you got to start: Leonard Fournette, James Conner, A.J. Dillon, got to be started. Jeff Wilson should be started in most situations against the Jaguars. Jeff Wilson probably going to score a touchdown today. He could get 20-plus carries as well. I also think David Montgomery is pretty much must-start territory, locked into a workload for the Bears. And with Lamar out, that game should be even closer. That only helps David Montgomery. At the tight end position, obviously the top 3 you got to start. I think Mark Andrews isn't a guy that you have to start anymore with Tyler Huntley starting at quarterback. I still think Gesicki, Dalton Schultz, and Hawkinson all have to be started. I know Hawkinson and Gesicki had 0 points last week. Still think they're must-starts, though, this week. At wide receiver, I mean, DJ Moore, I understand the concerns for him. I still think you got to start him. He's had at least 7 targets in every game. Washington has not been good this season. I also think T. Higgins is in a really good spot today for the Bengals. He's actually been on pace with Jamar Chase for targets. I think we could see T. Higgins have his first 100-yard day today. The other guy I think could have his first 100-yard day today is Jalen Waddle. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. I will be back live Thursday night, but we'll also be back live for the Monday night live stream with our Packers and Falcons creator Caleb and Andrew. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. Good luck today and have a fantastic Sunday.